Welcome, everybody, to the Myth Podcast. This is episode number 16, I think. Today, we will be continuing our historical retrospective series and celebration of Myth's greatest tradition, the Myth World Cup. In this episode, we'll be covering the Myth World Cup 2013 finals. I am GKG. I'm joined by my co-host Asmo, and we have returning special guests Dac and Myrk. Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. So, 2013. What do you guys remember from that year? You're used to heavy hitting, right? So, yeah. To be fair, Merc, that had less to do. Well, I don't know. It would just say, I would just say it had more to do with like I just didn't know what your capabilities were at the time. Like you were more of an unknown, right? So, and I would have liked to have hoped I gave you some like bigger roles earlier because I usually like to give like my non-heavy hitters or unconventional choices some bigger roles earlier in the tournament just to like see who's like stretch people, push them, see what they're capable of. But I don't know. We're not going to watch any QR stuff, I guess. But um, no, I don't think I knew you as well back then, Merc. I mean, if now seeing some of your older play, definitely. I think I honestly respect your play now more than I probably did back then in 2013. So that's what I'll just say about it. I just didn't know you that well back then. Yeah, I am big on that. Yeah, yeah. My the way I try to approach these MWCs is like give people some different roles, and especially in the QR. The QR is really the time to you know kind of you can throw matches in the QR, and it's not gonna affect anything too much. And so I'll give people much more diverse roles or odd roles that I don't think I would normally choose, but that's like their only opportunity to do them is earlier in the tournament, potentially anyway. Now, if they surprise me, if people surprise me and they do well, then great. I'll keep that card in my back pocket and play it later in the tournament. But other than that, usually what I think people are capable of early in the tournament, usually what is what ends up being, what I stick with later in the tournament. And then I want to give people like repetition in the same role over and over again to kind of refine things, to make things more familiar for people, just so that's I'm trying to like a coach would approach managing a professional team. Like I'm trying to get the team to peak their performance right at the very end of the tournament is kind of how I approach it. So Dac Asmo, what do you guys remember? It would have been either Karun, Asmo, or me. One of the three. I remember all of us were playing it earlier. I literally remember all of us and Cruniac. I think even Ratking a little bit, even maybe one or two mythers. Maybe it was Rat. I think I do remember that. Yeah, I think Merc, you on the team, I think was Dak's idea. I think that's right. Yeah. I want to segue. I want to segue into the QR drama a little bit because that. Okay. Oh shit. Okay. Oh, I agree. I just can I just turned the desktop audio all the way up. Y- y- oh, hey, my bad. I forgot that Discord still has push to talk. So I might have been saying some shit that you guys didn't say here. God damn it. Desktop audio. Um, let me re-add it. I don't know. Let me. try something. Yeah, you guys are right. I see that the audio is not working on my end. Shit. Hang on. Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. I know. I've encountered that before. Damn it. Okay, I got another idea. Hang on.
Are we all still here? It went quiet real quick.
Okay, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
The my audio should be working. Can you guys check it again?
Okay, so I can hear you, but we've been pretty
Test,
quiet,
test.
so I'm gonna wait to hear the. Yeah, that's better.
Working.
It's working?
Yep.
All right, great. Yeah, all
Sweet.
right, cool.
Do you want me to just leave off where it was, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, keep pick up where you left off.
Okay. So I don't know. I said most of what I want to say. I don't know why you picked me up on the team GKG. From my experiences, there was two draft tournaments before this Mithril Cup. I hosted the original one. I think Paris hosted the following one, which was this year leading up to Mithril Cup. And there, we weren't on the same team, but there was a. I think you won it, or you at least went to the finals. No, you won that second draft tournament. But there was a week that there was like a two bowler in your team that missed, and they allowed me the sub. It wasn't the finals as like one of the rounds leading up to it. And for me, that was important because like I thought it was super unfair that they allowed me to sub for a two baller, but people are freaking still giving me two balls 2013 as well. And so I played on your team for like one of those rounds, and like we smashed. Like they let me sub for a two baller. Like at this point, I feel like I'm at least like a mid three, like borderline low full four baller. And so, but people like get this freaking thought about a player, especially if they have a strong personality, and they will keep you at two balls forever if they don't like you. And so, like
Kind of like troll, but
this is my year
kind
to
of
prove something.
it kind of like works in your favor sometimes if there's like a salary cap type thing because they underrate you and then people know what you can actually do, pick you up for cheap.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, I'm laughing my
I
ass off over here because I can just imagine Asmo like, oh, I really want to sub, but it's only a two bar, and they're like, oh yeah, no problem, come on in, man. And you're like low key, I'm offended, actually, insulted that you guys are gonna let me sub here.
I probably was, dude. Now I'm gonna have to go back and get those films at some point in the future and show that round that they let me sub.
That's pretty funny. I don't know. I think I am living proof that once people decide you're a two baller, they don't always decide that, even in salary cap eras, like we talked about last week with 2018. But that's okay. I'll leave that one in last
Did
week.
they end up rating you super high, Deck?
I mean, it was a 2.6, which is probably like on the fair side, but yeah, I don't know. It again, looking back at it, it wasn't as bad as it felt remembering it. Like, um, but there were shenanigans with the ratings in 2018, but that was 2018. We did that one in a previous episode. We can leave it.
Yeah, we'll leave that one alone. But all right, so to pick up kind of some of the comments you guys made, so I'll start off like what I remember putting the team together. So let's see. So going into 2013, so 2011, 2012, won both of those years, but that was kind of like the Bulls era. 2012 wasn't exactly Bulls, but it was basically Bulls minus Kirk for the most part. And I just remember, this is what I remember. 2012 was very painful for me. I remember being a little bit upset with, not upset, but like just exhausted from capping certain players from my 2012 team. Cruniac probably comes to mind as the biggest one, and maybe Paris to a little bit to a lesser extent. And that's not to throw any shade, especially not to Cruniac, because you have to remember in 2012 Cruniac, he just came back. He just transitioned from WW2 to Reg Myth. Like that's his like first year of Reg Myth, and like here you had this player who was like clearly like a great clicker, but like did not know where he should be on the map. And it was like such a huge gap in these two skill sets, you know? Like I never seen it more like crystallized so obviously in a player than 2012 Kruniak at that moment in time. And I was just like, as a captain, I don't want to have to deal with this anymore. That's what I was feeling going into 2013. Like I really want to have like a smoother, more pleasant experience as a captain where I do not have to babysit a bunch of players. Like I don't want to babysit anybody anymore. And also I don't think the best teams require the captain to babysit. And also if I don't have to babysit, I can heavy hit still. So that was the idea going into the formation of TMNT in 2013 for me. And I think I pretty much formed this team almost unilaterally. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dac or Asmo. I think I pretty much like in later years, I think I got others more involved and got their input. But this particular year, I think it was basically all me. Does anybody remember it different?
I'd assume so. I was either the last person or second last person on the roster, so I wasn't involved in any of it. It was either I
Yeah.
feel like I was the last person, but if not, it was Ratking, because I think we're the last two that were at it.
When
Yeah.
was the first TMNT? Because I
Yes, sir.
thought that team had Rat and Asmo and Shadow on it for some reason.
No, Shadow was
Shadow was on it.
not on it. Shadow was in 2014, which was not 20 TMNT. 2013. This is the first TMNT year, Deck. Did you not know that?
Really?
Yeah.
No, I did not know that. What I remember you saying that you were trying to put a team together. You wanted to ask ours if he would join, and you asked ours who we wanted to play with, and ours said me because we go back to
Oh,
TFL.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dak, you probably involved somewhat early on. Although I don't know how close you and I were at this moment in time. I think we were like decently like
I think
we're on
so.
friendly
I feel
terms,
like,
but
well, when were we doing the 4-man Mazes all the time? Like, wasn't that
yeah,
around this era too? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
So
I would assume
so
so.
you're the one who got ours on the team. Is that right?
No, you invited him, but I remember I was like, "Well, do you want me on the team or whatever?" You're like, "I'm putting a team together. We'll see." And then you talked to ours, and then said ours wanted to join me for a team too. So
Oh, okay, okay.
it
So
just
it
sort
was
of made
ours'
sense.
idea a little bit then. Okay,
I think so. Yeah, it may have been just sort of
interesting.
it just worked out that way. That's how I remember it. I could be wrong though. It's been a long time.
Yeah. So the other thing about like my philosophy going into creating this team was like I really felt like the community kind of, to touch a little bit on what Asmo was saying about Asmo felt he was being very misjudged as a player. I felt the community just was doing a terrible job of judging people's abilities, like myth skill or whatever, in especially in large team settings. I just felt like it was so different than 1v1. It's like a totally different skill set than 1v1 and FFA, but like the whole community was treating them as the same. So like if you were a top 1v1er, then people automatically de facto assumed you were also one of the top large team players in an MWC setting, which I just vehemently disagreed with. And this team was kind of like I wanted to prove that. Actually, I don't know if I was so confident. Actually, I think I was approaching it more of like I have this hypothesis and this is an experiment. Actually, I wasn't. I was maybe like 60 to 70% confident. I certainly wasn't certain about that. So even I was not 100% certain about that. But it was an idea in my mind that I wanted to prove right or wrong, right? And
I would say you were pretty certain about it back then, if you
oh,
were to
was
ask
I?
me,
Okay.
because the whole idea of the team was to take people who aren't necessarily considered the best PCers and then win the whole thing with them to kind of prove that
Yeah,
point.
no,
I
I
remember that
definitely
being
wanted
a
to do that.
focus.
Yeah.
It's true. Those game modes all take like different skill sets other than, they all have you have to be able to control your units and shit, but it's all very different.
Yeah,
Like
like
1v1 on like big team maps, you're watching a bunch of stuff, that you're not controlling everything all at once like a god, unless you're like some StarCraft pro. But yeah, nobody can really handle all that shit. Like if you have a really big 1v1 map, and then team games, you're more like it's more like game awareness. You're microing and shit. And FFA is a lot of like some politics and like kind of picking your fights. It's all very different.
Yeah,
I
like,
post.
sorry, go ahead,
Go ahead.
Asmo.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick. It's kind of a parallel point. Like, so in 2011, the theory or hypothesis I went into that year was like melee is more powerful than ranged in a large team setting versus 1v1. Like 1v1 in FFA, range matters more. In a large two-team setting, melee it biases towards melee. And then so that was in the unit selection and the trades and strategies. But then in 2013, it was like, okay, but also this applies now to players. The player skills and their ability, like your decision making ability, it's a lot more complicated and it matters a lot more in a team setting, a large team setting, not just a team setting, large team. Like when I say large team, I'm thinking at least 5v5 and above, right? If 4v4s and below, it still kind of plays out typically. It's kind of along a spectrum. It's not like a binary thing, but that's kind of when I say large team, that's kind of more what I mean. So go ahead, Asmo.
No, I mean the thing I was going to talk about, I was going to pull it for your conversation, but just in general chat, I found that turn I was talking about. I posted the ratings, so they rated people one through 10 instead of like traditional 5-ball ratings, and it shows the list of people that I'm rated the same as all the 6s, and then the 7s are players that were rated higher than me in the next tier. So I'm as good as at that time. Coming in 2013, people have me at equivalent to Milkman, Falcon, Spoon, Kush. I have no idea who that is. Renwood, Guillory. It's like, oh god.
Oh god, what a diss! Equal in skill to Renwood. Jesus.
That's where
Sounds about right to me. I mean, I'm just kidding.
Oh gosh. He's a champ.
I'll also say that the other thing. So, Asma, you mentioned like why you and Rat were added. I do remember this thought in my mind that I wanted to try and mentor some other captains of the kind of lower ranked teams or whatever. So that was the thinking behind inviting you and Ratking to the team as well. I wanted to mentor you guys a little bit in my approach to the strategy and capping process. Myrk, yeah, I guess you got added through. I must have been looking for players. Like I was having a hard time filling out this roster clearly, but it still came together quite nicely. I guess Eastwind probably in ours was my core, and then Dac
That's
got
a low
added
key
in.
diss right there. Damn. Dude.
What's that?
Gonna be like, oh wow, man, we added Myrk. We must have been really hurting for players. Holy shit.
Well,
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's not dissing Myrk's abilities at all. It's just like Myrk, you and I did not really know each other at all. Like at this period.
I think, I kind of remembered you from like back in early BNet when you were into like FR Trow. And then,
Yeah.
After like, I don't know, 2010, 2011, 2012, you kind of rose as like a hotshot captain. Yeah, and I don't think we'd really ever played before or played together before prior to this tournament.
We
I don't know if
knew of each other, but we weren't like
yeah,
on
like
talking terms or friends or anything like that, right?
well, I
So
think we talked a lot of shit to each other on forums,
probably, yeah.
and that's like, I used to do that a lot with a lot of people. But yeah, I don't know if we really played in the same games all that much. I think we maybe played in some Maz games. I don't remember if it was like after this year or before it, but I know it's some point. Yeah, not a hell of a lot of interaction before this.
Does anybody remember? Was Myrk added before Rat and Asmo? Asmo, you said
I think he was added before me. I'm actually like going through this on this draft tournament I talked to you about, and I'll link it in the general chat. So it looks like Myrk was actually on your team during that draft tournament. So maybe that's why you brought him
interesting.
on.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's such a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Interesting. Do you remember that at all, Myrk?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Or
That
something
must have
for at
been.
least- at
Oh,
least
I
played
remember
for
this. Oh, Myrk, I remember this. You'll remember this if I bring this up. So that was the year Adren was also on our team in Adren, and that's the only year outside of the couple years with NC. Like as a captain, that was the only year I teamed with Adren. And remember this, Myrk? I fire ringed all your fetch on one map. Do you remember that? You can.
Oh man, no idea. I want to see the replay of that if
Oh,
that
interesting. Yeah,
happened.
you were really pissed at me, and I was like, shit.
I probably
I
would
was trying to talk in chat, and I somehow accidentally hit the T button or whatever. Yeah, that was. I fire ringed all your fetch, which we still won the game though, so it didn't matter. But yeah, no, that's the only reason I remember that was from that one incident. Yeah, that must have been why. I think I must have had a positive experience with Myrk in that draft
And
tournament then.
Dac was on that team too, so maybe that's how the connection happened.
Interesting. So that must have been it. Yeah. So that draft turning was kind of laying some ideas. So I'm guessing the order of players, the way I formed this team was probably like Eastwind first, then ours, then Dac, then Myrk. So Myrk wasn't even at the end. It was probably, I think it was probably Ratking was the last, but or Asmo and Ratking together or whatever. Either way, but
When did famous Augusta or August? That's what his name is.
oh yeah, when
was
was
he
he
added?
added? Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, now that we're bringing him up, so there was there's a couple things that stick out to me from the QR. Number one was we lost the first 2 weeks, and everybody thought, Myrk, you had the reputation that everybody thought that you would be difficult teammate when your team is like losing, and funnily enough, like everybody is like, Myrk is being super chill when the team is like losing all these matches. Like we thought, like there's like other people on the team, like August, that was getting upset, and I don't know if August was getting upset about the losses necessarily, but we were as a team getting a little flustered after the first 2 weeks of QR that we both lost. But like Myrk, you never caused any issues, and everybody just like assumed that you'd be the one that would be like the most flustered about stuff like that. And then the second thing I remember was August. That was like a weird drama that we had on the team. So August is the only player in my, whatever, 15 plus years of capping MWC teams that I had to remove from my team. Like, it was the weirdest thing. My memory of it, Asmo and others will have to jump in on this after, but this is what I remember. I remember August. I was getting a little, actually there's a couple things going on with August. Number one was I was getting a little frustrated with his play in those first 2 weeks. He made some mistakes, and then when I would give feedback, he was very I don't know what's the word, like not open to the feedback. He's getting very defensive and like upset about the feedback, right? Even though the feedback was like, I don't think that controversial. Like he clearly screwed up, but he was not accepting responsibility for it, I would just say, right? Which is going to cause problems. Like this is my number one. This is like the thing that will get me to remove somebody from a team quicker than anything is like if they can't accept responsibility, because that tells me that they're not only not going to improve, but they're just like that negative attitude just like creates, it's like a poison in my mind. It's like toxic to the entire team. That attitude just poisons the whole team. Because like if anybody's been in like a workplace, for example, or in any kind of team on another game or whatever, and you have that one person on the team that does not take responsibility, it just like sucks the soul out of everybody else on the team, right? You guys know what I'm saying?
I've been with people like that. Yeah, it's super annoying.
And I don't know I'm not saying like I don't know August very well. Maybe he was just going through some shit at the time. I don't know, but that was my experience and memory of it at the time with him. And I remember having some discussions, I think, with probably maybe you, Asmo, maybe you, Dac, I don't remember, but about like, hey, do I need to consider maybe removing him? But then there's like this other thing that started with him where he was really getting into it with Asmo. August and Asmo are just like going at, well, I don't know. I don't know if it was like one-sided more so from August's end, but like I was trying to get like you two to break it up. I'm like, guys, we're on a team together. We cannot be like bickering. Like we're on a team to squash that shit, get over it, like grow the fuck up and move on. And like August at least could not fucking squash that shit. Like just would not let it go. And I had no idea where it came from because like I don't know like why people like I don't know. Some people might have issues with Asmo. I don't think Asmo is like the most controversial personality in the community. Like I don't know. I was just like why Asmo of all people is he having so much issue with? Anyway, what do you guys remember from that?
Well, so the reason it was me is, I mean, there's all types of ranked, just rabble, big 2-team games going on at that time in 2013. And so we were in a particular rabble game, and after the rabble game, we were in the lobby. I think we were on separate teams, and he said like maybe some criticism about my play in that game, and I'm not gonna get into all the details, but I said your mom to him as a response. And I didn't know this dude personally, but apparently I hit like a personal note for him, and he absolutely lost it on me. And,
Just
like
from saying your mom.
yeah, I mean, your mom
Wow.
was like a typical thing to say like that time, like at least for a teenager. And so I guess
Your
there's
mama
something
jokes.
yeah, so I guess there's something personal that happens in life. I'm not gonna get into that. It's his story. I'm okay to do that at this time. But that's what it set it off, and I don't remember all the details beyond that. I know that at the time all the teams communicated through forums, and then there were private forums, and there was a post he made, and man, that flame war in those forums got pretty nasty. I wish there were screenshots of it.
So his post was flaming you or what?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's attacking me. I don't know. Maybe even wanted me booted from the team. I can't remember. I wish that information was out there, because that's the worst flame war I've ever been involved in. Once that stuff hit the forums, like there's some pretty nasty stuff in there.
What was my reaction to this? Because I can't imagine that I was okay with like two of my teammates like having an open, intense flame war with each other on
Now
the forums.
you weren't, and the reason everyone ended up siding with me is because I was like keeping calm.
Right, I do remember that.
I might
Yeah,
have said like a little bit of passive aggressive stuff, but like super minor.
yeah. You were definitely more restrained. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I remember.
he
Like it
was
was more
going
one sided from his end. Yeah.
yeah, he was going all in. He was like taking every personal shot he could think of. Like it was pretty intense on his end. And so I think you and others like told him like to calm down, the responses, and like he just kept at it. And I think that was like the what ended up, you know, led
Is
to him
this the
getting
same
removed.
August who was in the Order Camper? And I don't remember if he
Yes.
was on
Yes.
Name Shippers. Oh yeah, that guy. I think yeah, I had some flame wars with him back in the day, and he just seemed to be kind of like not really very articulate when he was flaming me back. So I kind of remember that about him.
Which is so weird to me because he had this reputation as being like this NC nice guy because he's from the NC kind of crowd. And like, wow, he did not live up to that reputation at all from my perspective on our team anyway that time.
Yeah, I'll defend him a bit just because, like, I didn't know him on TFL, right? Like, I knew of the camper guys. I didn't really know any of them. Like, I had talked to Shy a few times, basically, but that was about it. But he recognized me from TFL, and he was always nice, I guess you could say, with me. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I just remember being very confused at the situation and feeling like
Me
I didn't
too.
have all the info that was going on with it. And also sort of not wanting to get into people's drama. It was just like, I don't know. Because Asmo, back then you had a reputation for stirring the pot. So going into it, I was like, all right, what's going on? Like, how did this pot get stirred? But I just couldn't understand why it couldn't be. I don't know, like why couldn't you guys just quash the beef? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was confused by that, and I remember asking August about it, like on his end or something like that. I think I don't want to say this happened for sure. I want to say I'm pretty sure that I asked him, like what was going on with the whole thing, and he was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna leave the team, man. Fuck it." So that's what I remember happening with it.
Yeah, I think he also it wasn't just me kicking him. He definitely I think left as well. Like I was gonna kick him anyway, but like it was mutual from both of our ends at least. So
Yeah, I mean, I just remember talking to him about like he was doing day trading, if I remember correctly, and he was into. I think he was Korean, and he was talking about like some North Korea stuff. I've got like a little minor fascination with North Korea. At least I had one back then. Um, So I know that we were talking about some of that stuff, like back when we had first joined the team. That was something that I connected with him on, I guess you could say. Um, but I don't know, like it just the whole thing seemed weird. He always seemed good to me. I was trying to figure out what the fuck happened, but it just sort of was what it was and played out how it played out. Like you're gonna get water and oil sometimes. Um, and Asmo and August just didn't get along.
Yeah.
So
So
I just go ahead.
something interesting. Fast forward to 2023. He was actually on my team this year. He actually came back for a little bit. I added him. And we're actually like, okay, now we're cool. Like, I don't know if you remember that stuff, but he ended up quitting before Mithril Cup started because he was in a 2v2 game, I think, with like pretty good players, and LSO was his teammate, and LSO was telling him what to do, and he lost it on LSO and ended up quitting the
That
team,
is
and
so
I never
funny,
played
dude.
Mithril Cup. Yeah, he doesn't like criticism at all, like what you mentioned, like I've
Yeah.
never seen before, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. So that's a pattern with him then for sure. I mean, we're talking about 10 years apart exhibiting the same behavior. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, there's some players that are like that. Like it doesn't matter how much better than you that how much better than them you are, they still will not listen to you. Like they just won't take it from anybody. And I don't know. I feel like that's like some childhood trauma revealing itself there or something. I don't know. But yeah, whatever. That's just the nature of the beast. That's some people are like that in the world, right? I would
Yeah,
just say like in general, this is not these if you're not open to feedback, you will have a hard time improving in life in anything or being a part of any high performing team. So I always encourage people to like try to train themselves to have a thicker skin with the feedback. Like even if the feedback is wrong, it doesn't matter. It does. There's still no excuse to get upset about it. You just let the words wash over you and dismiss it and move on with your life. And if you're secure with yourself, it won't affect you. You know.
yeah. I guess important reason why this draw was brought up because it actually affected the tournament big time, in my opinion. Because you talked about how we lost the first two quarter round games, which August was playing in, and Dak was being benched every game. He was like the eighth man out playing bench, and so he got removed after the quarter round two games. Before we played quarter round three, that's when Dak came in, and that's when we won that match and like started winning all their matches. There was definitely bad chemistry with August.
Yeah, yeah, I remember. Yep. So yeah, it's exactly what I
Yeah,
remember as well.
I was just gonna say there's like a difference between like the public ego and then the private ego. Like, we're a small community and people kind of get roles based on what other people think of them. But if you are kind of fucking up, you have to, I don't know, they'll want to have the appearance that they're still, top shit or whatever. But at the end of the day, to yourself, you have to acknowledge your own fuck ups and improve on it, or else you're just gonna kind of stay in the dumpster.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Myth. This game has a large enough of a team dynamic. Like 8v8s is larger than almost any other even modern game that I can think of. Like MOBAs are typically only 5v5. That's kind of the next closest thing I can think of outside of MMOs, I guess, right? But um, like I love the large team dynamics in this game because there's so many lessons there about like working in a team environment, communication, collaboration, like egos, politics, whatever you want to call it. It applies to real life in so many ways, and I've learned so many lessons from this game that have applied to real life, and vice versa. I've taken real life lessons and applied them inside the game too. So it's really interesting in that way for me.
It's funny how much like I used to play Dota 2 for like a few years. It has like a lot of like team chemistry required, and that's kind of why I stopped playing it just because the teammates I got were so terrible all the time. Like if you solo queue, you get so many dumb people, it's insane. I talk to Doc about this all the time and I joke about him stealing my last hits. But Like if you execute it really well, it's like great. Just like kind of like Myth can be if you have a really well coordinated team, but if you're all, doing your own thing and kind of just chasing your own glory sometimes and just not really paying attention to the team, you guys have kind of a bad performance at a bad time. And even though like Dota, you only have like your one hero unit, right? Although there's a few heroes that you can kind of control a bunch of units at the same time, still nowhere near Myth level of number of units, but they have a lot of similarities. Just kind of have to coordinate with your teammates a lot. Like you have some ultimates that really synergize with other heroes, and you have to like coordinate. Kind of like I don't know, Myth with like fetch and trow and shit
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. The synergies, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that like it's all about like you'll see like Merc to your point, you'll see examples of like players who are very selfish, right? They're just selfish players. Like they only care about their own fun in the game, even though they're part of a team. And so like they seem to take no pleasure or care about working with others in the team. They just want to like they'll be the guys in a MOBA. I don't know. I don't play MOBAs, but I imagine that they're the guys in the MOBA that like go on their own flank and they just kind of do their own thing and they don't really care what's happening on the other side of the map kind of thing or something like that, right? So you have that in Myth too, right? And there's some players that are just like yeah they're very selfish and they just stick to themselves and they might still be very good players. It doesn't really have any correlation to skill. And then there's other players that they're just great to work in a team, and you just want a team with them all the time. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have some people who are really great team players who aren't the greatest at micro, but they kind of make up for it just by, always being where they're supposed to be.
exactly. Yeah, and that kind of goes perfectly into this team TMNT. To me, TMNT was the epitome of this trying to find a group of players that could kind of like be like I was really looking for like selfless really is kind of the term I would use. Like I wanted to find very selfless players that were all about that put the team always above themselves. Because like coming from the Bulls roster, we had a bunch of BC powerhouses, but and we still had good team dynamics, but you know it we Bulls still had good team dynamics, but there was sometimes examples of players just not being as aware or courteous, whatever you want to call it, about the larger team in the middle of the game. I guess is how I would describe it. So that was what TMNT was all about. I think we about covered it. You guys want to jump into these films?
Let's do it.
All
Sure.
right. I'm gonna crack open the first one here. Okay, and we should talk a little bit about our opponent here. This is Agents. Was that the name of their team, I think?
Yep.
So, yeah, going into this, I was not happy about WWO capping. I really would have liked to have seen Limp cap. This team beat us in the QR. What we were talking about our first two QR losses, I remember Agents beat us in the QR, and Limp was capping them. And I definitely preferred Limp as the captain over WWO. So I was kind of not happy with their choice of captain here because I really wanted to see. I really felt like we were going to roll them if they didn't put their best foot forward. So
Just to jump in real quick, Limp seems to show up in every finals. Like
he loves playing
crazy
in
how
finals.
much he's
Yeah.
around.
Yeah,
So
he finds his way into them somehow, some way, doesn't he? Yeah.
it'd be great to get him on one of these. I don't know. Don't know where he is if he's out there, but hope all is okay. I've heard terrible things, and I hope they're not true.
Oh, really? Is he like not doing well in real life right now?
That's what I've heard. I don't know the details, but hope it's not true. So
Yeah,
hope
it's
he,
unfortunate. I mean, I kind of don't really like Limp all that much, but I wouldn't want him to have a bad real life, I'd like to keep his beefs within the game.
yeah,
Nobody's
exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
I
was
agree, 100%.
sad about Chicken Wire, bro. I never had
Yeah.
anything, but man, when Mythers, like when bad things happen to, especially like cold Mythers, like Chicken Wire was pretty awesome. Like, yeah, it sucks. It sucks when life happens and it's negative.
This is why I keep talking about this on the podcast. So like people need to like people have been so used to hating each other's guts on this game for so long, but it's like I legit think most people would be legit upset if even if you took like your most hated myth nemesis in the game, and if you heard that like something bad happened, like they died or some shit in real life, like you'd be actually a legit upset about it, because it's almost like you bonded through trauma in the game or something, right?
I mean, I'd feel kind of sad if Kirk died, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like
He's like, we are kind of notorious for like hating each other's guts forever and ever and ever and then some, and maybe still now. I don't know. I haven't talked to the guy in a while, but
if you're
still,
if you're
wish
young,
Corey-
like maybe you're not wise enough to realize that, but as we get older, I think pretty much everybody should just about realize that at this point. I do think the community has simmered down quite a bit since, over the years. I think it has simmered down.
I mean, would I like Turk to be magic dirted like 50 times in a row in the game? Sure, absolutely, but
Yeah, that's funny.
not in real life. Not in real life.
Right. So all right, I'm paused at 0 here. So they got Sam on Tro. I like that choice. That's a good choice for them. Paris and Browning on Fetch. Surprised to see Browning on Fetch. Oh, Cruniac too. Okay, Cruniac. Yeah, Cruniac's a good choice on Fetch. Browning, PK, Crypto. What does Limp have? Limp has 0. Oh, what is he sitting this? He's on this team, is he not?
Yeah, so they got 8, I guess. Okay, so they're rotating.
So he sat this game, I guess. Okay. And then what do I got Eastwind on Tro. Yeah, I did a lot of split Tro during this period, and I always treated Eastwind as the secondary Troer, it seems like. Okay. Oh.
I was saying I was doing role player stuff, but here I am for half the fetch, so maybe not so much for all these games.
I have to say something. Asmo, I remember... Well, actually, I wanted to ask you, Asmo. I remember, as I mentioned, I wanted you and Ratking deliberately to like mentor you guys a little bit as captain. I don't think I did a very good job of it, honestly, but do you remember me trying to do anything with you and Ratking, capping wise?
I don't remember the details, but I know I was involved in like nearly every strat session. So yeah, you were trying to teach me stuff.
Okay. I wanted to also mention, I remember Asmo having I had a distinct memory around this time, and I think it might be this game, we'll see, where I gave you souls, and I think it was on this map, and I was like, I remember you trying to BC fight with the souls against like their fetch and morts or some shit like that, and I was like getting pretty upset with you at the time, because like I was like, I considered you a smarter player than this. You need to be on their fucking Tro. Like you were like way out of position with the souls. But we'll see what happens here.
It's this game for sure. We
Yeah,
had a
okay.
conversation about it like after game. I'd give myself like a B for my performance in these finals. I had a few weak games, and this was one of them, I'd say.
Okay. Interesting. I gave Eastwind, Tro, and souls. I don't know what I was thinking with that. That's so weird to me.
Maybe you end up taking that trail. Yeah, it seems sort of weird.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
That is unusual, yeah.
I got you on Fetch, Myrk. I mean, you're not, we'll see how bad your rolls are. I got you on Fetch at least. We can't complain too much.
Yeah, people usually tend to give me fetch. I usually tend to do very well with them. I
like you on Fetch for sure.
The entire fetch dynamic, there's a lot of people who just kind of don't get it, and when you do, you kind of just slaughter them. But yeah, anyway, we'll see how I do, though.
I feel like Fetch is like your most well-known unit. Like when I think of Myrk, is like, yeah, he's a
Probably. I mean, people give me credit for that Barbarian Valley fetch wall strategy, although I don't know if people do something different now, but yeah, that's kind of was known as a fetcher from my early days.
Yeah, when I think of you, Myrk, I'm thinking like definitely dark units, and I actually kind of bias you in my mind as like a melee player more so, but like party wise, I do like Fetch for you for sure. Yeah.
Like well, when I first started Myth 2 from TFL, I wasn't playing TFL all that long, but that was very, very melee centric, right? So I was always trying to think like, how do I kind of get around dwarves and archers and all that shit, getting good with pus, goals, like spreading out, blanking things. Just I was always trying to figure out how do I win melee fights against Artie. So that's kind of how I ended up that was a lot of my play. I mean, sometimes you just have to do a lot of Artie stuff, but I always did prefer melee.
Yeah. All right. Well, And again, this is 2013 Cruniac, so he might be a little bit better than what I was talking shit about him in 2012, but still, he's still new to Reg Myth. I'm expecting to see Cruniac, Paris, maybe Limp, and Sam, probably heavy hitting for them, yeah. All right, you guys ready to kick it off?
Yep.
Ibers.
3, 2, 1, go.
Game on.
So I am doing a 2-prong, I assume here, which I think is the correct move for Flag Rally. The only thing is I'm gonna be a little bit upset if I'm doing my flank with Tro without Artie support. Looks like I do have a Mort maybe going up there, but I don't know if that's enough.
Assuming we split souls, half go with you, half go with Eastwind, since we did the split drown.
Flag
Yeah,
captured.
Eastwind's got those freaking
Flag
second squad
captured.
of souls. It's so weird.
Flag
Oh,
captured.
I guess I told him to like
Flag
fall back to
captured.
the middle souls if he gets rushed, and that's why I gave them to him. I don't know, but
I wish.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, I want to ask a question. The same one I
Flag
asked last
captured.
episode. Why Souls here in FR?
yeah, that's
Would
a good
you
question.
get this trade again? Like,
Probably
would you
not.
go more melee?
I'd probably go more mauls, yeah. Probably. I'd have to sit down and think about it, but yes, I in general, like my principles tell me that you should be doing mauls here instead of soul. There's a lot of similar maps as this. Like, there's a lot of maps I can think of that are like locks instead of fetch, where I know for sure you would only want to get mauls and not any souls on Flag Rally for those maps. And I don't
Because
think
the
fetch
soul-
would change it.
Captured.
Well, actually, souls does change it. Fetch does change it a little bit because souls do defend against the Troarty push.
Right,
So there is
right.
something to be
Flag
said. That
captured.
probably does bias towards the souls a little bit, but I don't know if it's strong enough, honestly, to justify the souls. Maybe
and
you'd
the
only
terrain
get 5.
too.
You'd only need
the
like
terrain
5.
too, really.
Yeah.
Flag
Soul hills.
captured.
It's good soul terrain. They're rather decent at holding off fetch and decent against
Flag
Tro, but yeah.
captured.
I can't imagine getting this many though. It seems way too many though, for sure.
Looks like
I feel like the
get any.
the track can run away from them pretty easily. I feel like on this.
So what am I doing in the north? I am stalemated against Sam.
Well, you gotta tag before you got back to that flag, so probably did what you had to do there.
We are up in flags.
Flag captured.
Yeah, I'm playing really bad right now. I'm pinching myself.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're in a very awkward position in that valley.
Can your souls even make it onto that cliff? I'm not sure.
so.
They're
I think
super
so,
deep.
but like you can't get around the trees.
Yeah.
Okay, they're setting up a push in the north, I think. Oh, we're trying to push north too. Okay. Okay, yeah, I like Myrk's right with me. I like that. Rat's calling for help. Where's he at?
Yeah, I'm trying to find him. He's in the north, middle flag.
Oh, Sam's pushed across. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
yeah, yeah.
my soul is so bad right now.
Yeah,
what am I doing?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember this. I was like, oh my
that's
god.
really bad.
Flag
I don't really like
captured.
Eastwind's Solus not being a little bit more aggressive. So he
For
can
sure.
outrange fetch. He could be more annoying than he is.
Yeah, he should be thrown mid for sure.
Yeah, they don't have the range of the Mort though, and the hills are kind of tough.
Yeah.
Oof, right through the canyon.
It's just the. I wish that wasn't me.
Yeah.
Player.
I wonder if they're ever gonna rush you. But I think they're just kind of letting you kill all their spiders from close range actually right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in a really like those fetch are gonna push you out of that valley, I think. Because you can't get trapped. Like those trees will trap you if you try to run up those hills.
Man, I can't believe they didn't rush you up there. They could have just killed you.
Yeah, they stirred that up for sure. I should be dead.
Where am I?
Dead.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's like behind me.
I feel like their shot calling had to be lacking because they should be up in this game. Like my play there was so bad I didn't even get punished up to this point.
Dac and Ars are pinching Paris right now, kind of cool in the south or west rather.
I'm trying to find Paris.
They're probably gonna counter somewhere.
It's getting rushed in the far west.
Oh, I remember this. I think I take a bad engagement mid and take too much tro damage. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I think I remember this.
So Paris is kind of I don't know why, but he just kind of let Dex
Yeah,
work.
we're behind now. Yeah.
And Dac just
We're way down in tro health now. At this point, I should take Eastwind's tro. Oh, I lagged. That's right. I remember this. Yeah. I lagged hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
everyone's lagging it looks like. Everyone's typing it.
Yep, I remember this. Yeah, that was some bullshit lag. I'm getting pissed just thinking about it again. I remember that.
Yeah, I can't believe Paris didn't kill those dwarves, so that was very strange.
I didn't think he'd get both of them. I thought maybe he'd get one, though.
I mean, he won a melee fight. He had him surrounded. He chose to fight the Zergs instead of.
Oh, yeah, this is where I'm getting pissed at you, Asmo, because we're down in tro health, and your souls need to be all over their tro, and you're, like, way out of... Yeah, you're our main tro defense to offset their tro advantage, and you're, like, way out of position right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're rushing that south with the 2 tro, and I need to be down there. Yeah, I remember this.
Yep.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, they're setting up a good tro. They're using their tro health advantage to set up a nice tro fetch push right now on us. So we're kind of screwed. That lag was such bullshit. It kind of set up the whole thing for them.
Yeah, they capitalized on it though.
Yeah.
Just killing our fetch with Trow right now.
It's a good push by them.
Yeah, it was. This is a textbook example of why Souls and Spiders need to be focused on tro defense, especially if your team's down in tro health.
Well, it's also a good example of why Souls might be limited on this, right? Because it was tough to get Asmo's soul pack engaged with anything up there.
Victory imminent.
Yeah, earlier in the game, you're right.
Yeah, he was trying to chase around the Trow, right? But
Yeah.
they can just kind of run away from him forever. You know, they took a bunch of spider damage, but it's like, who cares? But they weren't able to get value in this. Because that's what I feel like.
You see chat right now?
Yeah, it looks like our
Everybody acknowledges that there was bad lag. Even their team does, so. Does anybody know whose host is? Did it say anywhere in the chat?
Paris.
Paris? Okay.
I don't know. I feel like it's back to the conversation we were having last week about
Five
trying to get
minutes
advantages
remaining.
outside of the normal gameplay or whatever. I don't know if anybody intentionally.
Yeah,
see that
right.
happening.
Yeah.
It's been so long since people were doing that shit. I actually don't even think it works because it used to be you could tab out and freeze it, but I don't even think that works with modern map.
Yeah, I don't think the tabbing thing works
Flag
anymore, but
captured.
obviously there's, I'm sure, other things people can do to lag their connection at that moment.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, who is who in the game is what's the word I'm looking for? Who actually knows how to write a script to do something like that and to invoke
And
it? Who would actually do it?
it might be
There's
something like what people kind of do in Destiny, that lag switching,
Oh no,
whatever.
for
Where they kind
sure. But
of
I just mean like
they
in
net on it themselves.
2013 on Myth,
They could do that
right?
in
Like
Myth, I guess.
there's a huge community on Destiny full of people who would put that technical know-how to do it, right? Like who has the technical know-how to
technical
do it,
know-how,
plus
Dak.
the
You don't think
care.
there's an application that'll do it for people for them? I'm sure there
I
is.
mean, I mean, for Myth specifically, that'd be pretty hard.
It doesn't need to be specific to myth. I don't feel.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, because you have to mix that with the you'd have to mix that with the care to do something like that too.
Yeah,
I
no,
guess
I'm not. I'm
also
not making any accusations. I'm just saying
Yeah, me neither.
it was
like
like super ill-timed. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't think people would do that in Myth just because it's such a small community, and if it ever got out that somebody was like, deliberately like legging people, they'd probably be ostracized pretty quick. But it's something
I
that should
disagree.
be done. Well, sure, yeah, I guess
I
you have
think that
to.
there's been so much shitty behavior on Myth over the years from people who later host tournaments. Sorry to call you out like that, Paris. But like dummying in his own tournaments and shit. Like the community is so small that people aren't going to ostracize other people. I mean, I
Well,
don't
I
know.
mean, there's stuff like that, and then there's like blatantly cheating with like
Yeah,
lagging people, right?
I'm-
So
uh,
like
yeah.
that would be a bit bad.
Ostracizing aside, I don't think it's beneath the community. Some people in the community to do stuff like that. I mean, definitely
Yeah, for
it could
sure.
happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, it looks like Kroon and Paris had good games. Sam
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I just
Just to
had a bad.
clarify, looking at all the players in this lobby right here, I think it's beneath every single one of them to do something like that. So I don't think there's any chance it happened.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, sometimes you just have an unfortunately shitty host experience.
Yeah.
It looks like yeah, Asmo and I both had pretty bad games. Yeah, I mean, we just couldn't set anything up as a team. Really, we were just like on the back foot after that lag spike. So, yeah, not much else to say about that one. But they are starting. They start the match good on that game.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I remember this one too. Shit, I think we lose this one too. Limp talking some shit in chat. Okay.
I do like our trade way better here than theirs. Last game was a toss-up. This one, yeah, I think we have the advantage trade-wise.
Looks like, yes, yeah, okay, yeah. We did a no archer trade on this. I think I would get 5 archers on this if I had to do it again today. But because the way I look at this Asmo is, if you getting control of middle, I feel is super key, because you'll get map control, and then there's like 6 flags at least that are pretty close for the taking. And that's like the biggest cluster of flags is right in the middle there. And I feel like a 5 archers pack will help you to get that mid control. But they definitely go too many archers. I don't like as many archers as they got, for sure.
Also,
But if you
there's a
have mid control, I mean, I hear what you're saying about the flags close by. There's a lot of deep water next to them too, right?
Yeah, you're right. Obviously, that's must have been what I was thinking with all these thrall.
Yeah.
Also, there's a ton of pus on this map because there's the 12, and then there's like 3 extra per team, I want to say, on the map, or at least 2 extra.
Right. Yeah, I think there's 4 pus in total on the map, if I want to say. 4 or 6. I think it's 4. No, it's 6. There's 6 on the map at least. Because there's one on either side of mid, 1 in each corner. Is it 8 then? It's 8 actually.
There's 1 behind the castle.
1 behind the start, so there's 8. 1 in each corner, 1 behind the start, and 1
So
mid.
it's 16 plus per team, huh?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I do remember I gave you a Thrall. I think this is where you're remembering your roleplay units, Myrk, is because I gave you a Thrall dwarf pack on this.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah.
I mean, sure. I think I remember this, and it was like literally one of those moments. I was like, didn't want to give Myrk this squad, but there's just really not, given the trade and strategy I'm trying to do. There's not anything else I can really do. So
Yeah,
it was kind
I
of one of
thought
those things.
that Myrk and Asmo were, I don't want to say fighting, that's the wrong word for it, but Myrk wanted a war pact on one of these. And Asmo
Probably.
didn't want to give it up.
Yeah, probably. And I can see why Myrk would want a war pack. I definitely like Myrk on war packs too. So, I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Are you guys ready to start it?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Game on. Flag captured. Flag captured.
I want to say I'm hoping what we do is we kind of just sink the Thrall and have the wars on wide on the flanks and just try to run the timer out is what I'm hoping we do. And then play for the end game.
Kind of looks like it. Thrall are going west.
It'd be interesting to see what the unit trade is. Could we have dropped some more doors for more Thrall?
Flag captured.
I'm not sure, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I just feel like those doors are just
Flag
getting pus without
captured.
any freaking pus.
Yeah,
there is.
Flag
that's a good point.
captured.
Yeah, there's so much pus on the map. That's what might justify the archers some actually. Is like you don't want actually any more dwarfs because there's just too much pus on the
Flag
map, and you need the
captured.
archers to defend them anyway. I definitely feel like at least 5
Flag
archers on
captured.
this, maybe even 10. I think that mid control is pretty important. I'm not actually super in love with the strat I'm doing here
Flag
right now.
captured.
I seem to recall learning this lesson too, like doing this
Flag
all melee
captured.
strat on this, and then
Flag
it not working well,
captured.
losing to archers, and then I end up adjusting the strat to do
Flag
archers and get mid
captured.
control. I think that's what I remember learning from this. So we got 3 out of our 4 war packs on the east. I think we had a 4th one. I don't see it. Oh no, all 4 are there. Okay. So I put all the warriors on the
Flag
east.
contested.
Okay.
Flag
Yeah,
captured.
I mean, the only reason I would do that is trying to like leak through the backfield, but I feel like if I wanted to do that, I should have done that on the west side because everybody goes east, usually heavy. And also, if we had leaked in the backfield with all our warriors, I don't know if it would have done anything because you still got the whole game time for them to trap us and shit, unless you can get the Thrall in the fight to do a pinch somewhere, but I don't think it would work. Yeah, I'm saying in the chat, ignore their archers, run the timer out. That's what we're trying to do. I mean, at least I realize that's what we should do. So, given the trade.
Yeah, we are just kind of chilling on our side right now.
Flag lost.
There's not a lot of space in this map at all.
Which favors the
Most-
archers again. Smaller maps favor the archers, so.
It
Honestly,
looks like we did not sink a whole lot of Thrall. Looks like most of them are holding.
I think this was that game too, Dac, where like you had a couple Thrall on the home flag that like died to a warrior or something like that.
Yeah. I think Paris killed my AFK Thrall.
Yeah,
Flag
yeah.
I was
lost.
gonna call that out when we got to it because I'm
Flag
having flashbacks
captured.
to that. It's pretty indicative of every game that Paris goes against me. He winds up killing my AFK units because I suck. with attention and multitasking anything.
So I'm telling our war packs to start spreading out to get ready, get in position, ready for the
Flag
end game.
lost.
Because we're at 8 minutes. It'll take them a few minutes to get in position. I want everybody in position by like 4 minutes. I can just tell, looking at this now. I mean, Asmo, what do you think of this? Because you said you like our strat better. But what
I
do
like
you
the
what do you
trade
think?
better.
Okay, you like the trade better.
I think the shift west right now from who is that, you and Eastwind is good. I think a mistake right now in terms of whatever we're doing in game is how me and Arzenic are staying east. Because the other team has all their units like
Flag
equally spread out from the
lost.
map. I feel like me and
Flag
Arzenic
captured.
should be
Flag
pushing through
contested.
mid before this other team reacted, or we should be meeting up west and try to roll over it.
I
Flag
agree.
captured.
I should have had
Like,
all the war packs
flag
stick together to
lost.
just pierce through on one side and get in the backfield.
Exactly.
I
They got a
didn't
bunch of
recognize it.
They got a bunch of mixed slow squads, so we should be shifting away from it since they're equally spread out
Flag
the map to
lost.
get a percent advantage on one side of the map and take a fight.
Yeah, we need
And
to
just
get
let
in
their
that
slow units do
backfield.
nothing.
We need to let our warriors get in that backfield to like
Flag
fully extend them
captured.
out
Sure.
because our thrall can hold the other side of the map. Yeah, I totally
The
agree.
west.
We're not setting it up right, and I don't think I understood at that time. I didn't understand that. Like I'm sitting here trying to spread the war packs out, but I really should have shifted them to all one side, and preferably west. I think because everybody goes heavy east. Although
Yeah,
they're east.
especially with how we've scouted them out at this point. Their east stuff wouldn't be able to shift to west and do anything.
Right, yeah.
Push
You
too
just
far
ignore
up.
them, like leave them behind, yeah.
Exactly.
And agents should really be pushing with their archers right now. They're kind of
Flag
letting us
captured.
AFK
Yeah,
the timer
yeah,
out,
they
which
should have been
is a
more
mistake.
aggressive for sure, yeah.
They're trying to get some
Yeah,
damage.
just sitting there with them.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit of lack of understanding from both teams right now how to win the game.
Yep. Yeah, my eye for the game has definitely improved since this game. I would not do this today. I'm sitting here just sitting here watching us
lost.
turtle up, and we got warrior packs spread out on both sides. It's not good.
Eastwind actually has a good idea right now. I'll give him props for that, assuming he falls through it. Looks like he's flanking through the east side or like setting that
5
up where
minutes
they have nothing to
remaining.
block him, so maybe he can link through the
Flag
backfield for
lost.
attacks like yeah. Yeah, as long as he leaks through on the east and doesn't go behind to try to
Flag
pinch, I think it's a good
contested.
move. He does
Yeah,
that,
I
it
agree.
should really help.
We need to just find a way to get our war
Captured.
packs behind into their
Flag
backfield. It's like
captured.
super crucial. I think if we get that position, then I favor our position. But like right now, if we don't do that, then I'm not favoring us right now.
Yeah, their east is looking a little bit weak at the moment compared to ours.
I feel like Paris is going to shadow Eastwind at this point, so I don't think Eastwind's going to be able to break out.
It doesn't look like we're even attempting it either. It looks like
Ours and
he's looking for the
Asmo,
fight.
yeah, ours and Asmo are there. Ours and Asmo, if you guys shifted like far east with Eastwind and just try to like just like run past their arty to get into that backfield.
Flag contested.
But I doubt we're gonna set that up.
Flag contested.
I think I remember, yeah, I go far west, and I remember Kryptos shadowed me on this really well, so I don't think I end up doing anything west either.
I'm just so surprised they let their archers be AFK all game.
Mm-hmm. They didn't understand at this time. Like people didn't
Yeah.
understand it that you had to get BC damage with the archers. If me doing my little run timer out strats, this is only like the second or third year I've been doing it. You know, like I might have done it a little bit in 2011, but yeah, I mean, I was just starting to kind of do these types of strategies, and I don't think people recognize them at the time.
I'm not sure where you guys are in game clock. I'm under 3 minutes, but you can see in the
302.
chat.
3-1.
Yeah, Sam is saying dum dum, like, he's bored. This has been a pretty boring game, but that's one of the things about run the timer out strategies is
Yeah.
it can be really boring, and that's
Flag
probably a
lost.
big reason a lot of teams haven't done it up to this point. Is a lot of people would rather do the arty fight in all game and make stuff happen as opposed to space sparring or hold positioning your units for 10 minutes.
Oh, I get it. I totally get it. But we're just saying that, like, if they ran across a team trying to do that, they should be more aggressive with their archers, right? Like, it'd actually make it less
Yeah.
boring for them. Yeah, and people were very critical about that with me, and probably still are to a certain extent. But to me, it's just like, you know what? Pick better map games. Is the way I say it. I'm only gonna try and strat for the win. If you want better, more active, entertaining strats, then pick better map game picks. Asmo looks like he's in a really bad spot here. His dwarf's gonna get picked off pretty easily. Yeah, there it is. Oh, you guys are trying to rush Limp. Interesting. But you're going like in between all their. I really hate that choice of where you guys are rushing.
Flag
Like
contested.
in between. Asmo spends a pus on an archer.
That me? That was terrible.
Yeah, like, and you guys are backing out. Like it's hesitant.
Way away
Like,
from a
Flag
too.
lost.
this is a terrible rush. I hate this rush.
Flag contested.
Another pus spent on archers.
Paris looks like
Asmo
he's gonna
backs
get
out.
East Wind. Paris is gonna get East Wind in the East.
Yeah.
As bad as the rush was, at least Arzenic gets in the backfield off of it, hopefully.
1 minute remaining.
Oh,
Flag
he's gonna take a
captured.
ton of damage from Limp's archers shadowing him. I don't think it's gonna work very well. 5 minutes or 50 seconds. If he had more time, I just don't think he's gonna have enough time. Is the problem. We're already way down in percent. Yeah, I can tell this is not looking good.
Look mid. Sam just killed Racking's dwarf. Was about to kill mine. Ran away and then went
Contested.
back to kill. God, that's awful.
That
seconds.
pus sucked. Oh my god.
Flag contested.
Okay, Dac, you picked off that dwarf middle. That was nice.
Flag contested.
Yeah, I blame my strategy on this. It was not a good
Contested.
strategy.
Flag lost.
The dwarfs, yeah.
Flag
You don't need all those
contested.
dwarfs. Those dwarfs don't do shit for you. Should have got archers instead.
Good right now.
Flag captured. Flag captured. Flag contested.
Somebody's
nice.
dwarf
Pretty
just got
close.
fire arrowed to death.
Flag
Yeah, it's getting closer now. There's Paris's warrior going for that home flag.
Flag
For Dac's
contested.
thrall in a minute.
It's so interesting to watch these games. Like, I'm just a way better player now. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Contested.
Yeah,
Flag
same with
contested.
me and with the strats and capping. Like, I'm
There's
not
just a
doing this.
lack of understanding. A lot of people like Limp consider a very smart player. He's trying to freaking
Flag
shadow Arzenic with archers. Like, he should be running. He should have been running in mid there and just get free kills on thrall with his archers instead of trying to shadow
Flag
ghouls and
contested.
warriors with archers.
Flag
Ours, I must say, ours did a great job
Flag
this game so
captured.
far. He killed Limp just now, which was not a super easy kill. He had
Flag
some great
captured.
micro too. Like ours just did a really nice
Flag
job.
captured. Flag contested.
Yeah, besides ours, probably should have given you
contested.
a war pack, Myrk, because I don't think the
Contested.
three of us, the rest of us, did anything else with our war pack.
Yeah, it looked like my thrall attempt on the west didn't really work out.
Flag lost.
Ryan and Dac had a good game,
Flag
I think. I
contested.
wasn't watching all of them.
Yeah,
Flag lost.
yeah.
Flag
Got that push on
contested.
middle to kind of kill
Flag
it off.
contested.
Yeah, thrall coming in.
Flag contested.
My attention was in too many places, and I lost the home flag to that one warrior, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, the
think
parsing
you're-
was pretty bad too.
Game
So much
over.
wasted on archers that don't really do shit for them.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I
I
remember
do
this.
think you guys should have
All of it was just really
thrall
slow.
mid. After you won mid, you guys should have pushed that thrall out to the deep water on the other team's side of the field.
Yeah.
Ours was definitely MVP for us, but the rest of us kind of sucked. So, well, Rat and Dac did fine too. But this is just a flawed strat. It's the fault was mine with the strategy.
Limp doing some good shot calling on that team.
Yeah,
Look at that,
well, Limp's
like
always a
all
good shot
contest.
caller. I like
Yeah.
Limp's shot calling. Yeah, which is why I thought he should have captained for them too. But Cruniac, I think, is having a good match as well. Paris too. So they're up 2-0 now. I think I remember this, them being up 2-0. And I remember, yeah, I do remember this. So I'm going to the third game now, Dark Canyon. I remember this. I remember going into this match thinking like the first two games. Now, I don't know why I would think the first two games, because the first game was Tro. I thought maybe I would have favored myself on Tro. But for whatever reason, I remember the first two games thinking to myself, it didn't favor us that much. I think I probably thought that. Whatever. I just felt like the strategies were not super dominant for us on those first two games for whatever reason. So I remember going into this, in this third game, thinking to myself, I'm actually not that concerned about us being down 2 games, because those were the 2 games I thought were riskiest for us to lose. I felt like the remaining games would get stronger for us. Yeah, and then Limp's here. Man, Limp is just all over my nuts in the chat in this game. And Sam, too. So Limp is dead wrong. I am not actually anxious at all. And I thought I reverse swept him in 2012. So I would have thought he would have learned this lesson by now, because we're into 2013. But no, I'm not nervous at all. I remember feeling actually still fine, even though we were down 2 games in this.
If you get nervous when you're down, it's game over. Like,
Yeah.
you have to go game by game. You can't.
I'm pretty sure I reverse swept him in the bottom bracket in 2012. Like, he should not be talking shit. Like, it's just crazy to me. I've been down 2 games on a lot hairier scenario before against him. I don't know why he would still think that.
I think I've noticed the people who get down and they get nervous and stuff, like, they're the people who usually choke when the
100%.
get close.
100%, dude. Absolutely. Were you saying something, Myrk?
It's been a while that we got 5 fetch. I mean, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I was just thinking that, too.
Map,
Oh, we didn't max them? Wow.
Revan Heroes might actually be kind of better, just because they can kind of capitalize on that terrain advantage, but it's still kind of wild to see not max fetch.
Yeah, I agree. I was just thinking that, too. Obviously, that must have been what I was thinking, was like the Dwarf Heroes with the hills and the Souls with the hills. That's the only thing I could think of.
I'm sure that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Great Divide
I
is
think it's quite viable not to max them here, actually. Like, usually when you see fetch in a map, you usually just insta-max them, but
Yeah.
it makes sense not to do it here.
I would be surprised if this winds up being good. I don't think that this map makes for good games at all. Like, it
No, it
really
doesn't.
demonstrates a lot of missed stuff, just like
Especially-
the terrain advantages, but
Especially
just
on
too big.
captors.
Oh, I remember what was happening with this map too. I think South had a start advantage on this, and I think that's why I also felt good about this game. So you see me circling those 2 mid balls on the far flanks. This is because it's captures, which is such a terrible pick. No, please, any future TOs, don't ever pick captures. Good lord, all it is like whoever, especially. It really doesn't actually matter, even if it's an even number of balls or odd number. It doesn't really matter. Whoever gets the advantage with the tags and collects their balls to their side of the map first usually wins or has a massive advantage at the very least. So that's what's going to end up happening here, is that we're going to try and get the ball lead early, group them all up together, and then just camp and run the time route. And that's how the game, like, don't hate the player, hate the game. You know what I mean? Like, it's terrible. Yeah, these are pretty standard trades. What are they got? They got Sam Troing. Yeah, they should have Sam Tro. That makes sense. You guys ready to start it?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Game on.
I think the only complaint I have about this Mithril Cup, there was captures every single round, and I feel like we won every single captures game because we tested maps and we knew like who got the balls first.
I went through the maps and saw like how to get the advantage and which starts had the advantage, and like everybody would have been microing their ass off to get the ball first and shit like that. Yeah.
Which is why you don't just choose game types just for the sake
Ball
of having something
captured.
different.
Yeah, exactly.
Ball captured.
Interesting that I only have 2 soul squads. Ours and Rat.
Ball
Got big
captured.
soul squads.
It's also funny that they
Ball
take
captured.
a campy game
Ball
type
captured.
where you get an advantage in camp on it on the map with the least ability to attack
Ball
uphill. Like,
captured.
I don't
Yeah.
think there's any other
Yeah,
tournament
exactly.
map that has a greater advantage than Great Divide for terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's horrible on this map, but a dumb
Ball
pick.
captured.
Who picked
So
this shit?
we get mid super easy, so obviously that's the
Ball
ball
captured.
advantage that we already know about.
Ball captured.
At least in flag rally,
Ball
there's a few
contested.
flags in the middle where you can
Ball
actually have
captured.
like even fights,
Ball
but this is just
captured.
trash. Like
East
I
one's
think we kind of basically won the game already. GG us.
Ball
Yeah,
contested.
yeah.
Ball contested.
Balls and we're good.
All we gotta do is secure the balls, yep. Now,
Ball contested.
our east ball is not fully
Ball
secured
contested.
yet. They need to push it back more. Oh, it's so...
Ball
Oh, they
captured.
could get... They almost got it. They
Ball
might get it.
contested.
Now, there's a little bit of a fight going on over this east ball.
Kind of got trapped in a
Browning's
hill.
trying to get it. He almost
You
got
the
it.
Dwarf on top,
But the
you still
dwarf...
should be able to dwarf all
Yeah, Eastwind's got that dwarf. Yeah, now they're gonna lose a bunch of
Oh,
spiders
Lord.
trying to get this.
Ball
But they had to.
contested.
They had no other
What a
choice.
Man, that dwarf has paid for itself. Holy shit.
Oh!
Oh,
Oh!
did it
Oh!
No
They
way.
almost got it.
Contested.
Oh, that dwarf's gonna get it.
Oh!
Oh!
Oh,
Browning
that's-
trying to dance around and get this.
It's pretty funny.
Ball lost.
Well, he almost pulled off the miracle right there.
Yeah, good effort, Browning. Full props. He's really trying to. He tried to go for it. He had to. He made the right call. That was their only opportunity right there.
For sure.
Had to do something, yeah.
I don't know why why Eastwind's dwarf didn't knock the ball off. So there's
Yeah,
back right there.
I remember not
Yeah,
being happy with Eastwind about this. Yeah.
Now he's doing it.
Also, I remember them not trying to set up. They also were not being very aggressive. They let us. They just ran the timer out, and they needed to be more aggressive earlier on. They just end up kind of. Actually, no. I think Sam does take a bad tro engagement at some point. But they should have been so much more aggressive, like right from the beginning. Right when Browning was fighting, their whole team should have been pushing somewhere. Okay,
We did not do a good job of drilling.
No, we did a terrible job securing this ball. Like, why are we still messing with it? It's so crazy. And why is there no souls over there?
Ugh, what is happening?
No kidding. Yeah. Eastwind's dwarf, luckily, is just barely hanging on to that ball by a thread.
Yes, 2 other doors are right by it, too. Why didn't you pull up those other doors when that ball really is the deciding factor? In the
It's
game?
almost like we're baiting them to try and take it and
No.
then take the free damage, but it's like it's not a good move.
That's what it feels like, honestly. Like we're just baiting him at the ratio.
Yeah.
Be better.
Ball contested. Ball captured.
Also, I'm not too happy the fact that their 3 tro got over there and none of our souls were following it. Oh, Eastwind just dwarfs himself. That was weird.
Ball lost.
Like, after seeing the 2 tro games so far in this match and how the souls... I really have noticed this, and I noticed it for years, and you're seeing it in this match big time. The Solars at that time really did not recognize how much more focused they should be on tro. People use these souls for way too many years in this game to just BC arty fight like all the other arty units, but they really should not hardly be used for that. The only time I really ever use them that way is if I have a soul hill, which granted, fine, there's some soul hills on this, but still, even with soul hills, their number 1 priority still is to defend against the tro, even if it means moving off of a soul hill.
Kryptos is like rushing twice the number of souls with his souls right now. Or he's backing off right now.
Yeah, they don't have much of a choice though.
Yeah,
They're kinda
kinda
screwed.
Check. But yeah, I mean, they can't really do anything at this point. I mean, good
If
luck
I-
beating a Dwarven hero in a high ground with anything.
If I was them, I would have called for a full team jugger to the far west side of the map just to get on the other side of the hill, just to get up the hill. You know what I mean? Like, they just need to pierce into the backfield is what they should have played for. They should have spent the whole game time trying to do that. But they're sitting here trying to push the side that we're most defending. So
There's no way in hell. Like, look at that fortress of Solus right there.
Right.
There's no way.
Well, to be fair, we're defending that side because that's where they tried to push. Like, all the souls kind of shifted over to try to catch it. So they were trying to break through in the east. So a jugger full east or a jugger full west.
But
I mean,
I'm just saying east is way more defensible for us than west. West is a lot easier. That terrain is a lot easier to break into. And I would have been doing that right when Browning was making the play for the ball at the beginning of the game. Like, the whole rest of the team should have shifted far west. Because we would have been focused on the east. And at least, even if Browning had failed, their team would have gotten on at least up the hill.
is that path on the far west passable by all units? If you look on the
yes,
west of my spider, that little one unit narrow thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Because that feels like the only place where you'd have a path up where you're not going to get totally screwed, even though you're bottlenecked like crazy if we see it coming.
Well, so there's that, plus also even that valley, if you had to go up that valley, at least it's a lot wider of a choke than the east side chokes are just like so tight.
I don't know. I feel like this map sucks. And then
It
the
does
game
suck,
type
100%.
just makes it worse. So this is sort of...
it definitely sucks.
We had a 50-50.
5
Nobody,
minutes
I'm
remaining.
pretty sure, I remember complaining about this pick before the match was even played. I was like, you know this is going to be terrible, right? Like, I want to say Limp was picking these, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, he was the host this year.
Was he? Okay, then he for sure was picking them. Yeah.
Or at least he's picking maps. I remember that much. I remember playing being about his capture.
That's what I remember as well. Yeah, and I remember him picking a lot of captures. He liked picking captures for whatever reason.
It's kind of wild that anybody would even like captures.
Yeah, it kind of goes in those category of game types. Like, Bungie, props for experimenting around. I'm sure they couldn't know at the time what would end up being good or not. But like, hunting and some of the scavenger hunts, all these esoteric kind of game types, they didn't really work out. In fact, is there any game type with balls instead of flags that works well? Balls on parade? Probably not. I think flags just always work better than balls, pretty much, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the map. Like, you need a map where captures can actually be good. But when you have spiders, fetch, shooting things like off the map, it's just that ain't it.
Yeah, I feel like that brings up a good point, Myrk. I feel like, unfortunately, whenever it comes to ball game types, it's so heavily dependent on the map. Like, the moment you add balls in instead of flags, now the terrain of the map is a huge influence in combination with the balls. And I feel like the only way you could get balls to work instead of flags is like a perfectly flat map. It's like, the more hilly and shit it is, the more defensive like terrain, chokes, anything else like that. You would need like a perfectly wide open flat map, I feel.
What if the balls didn't unlock for a certain amount of time? Like, it was 4 minutes.
Yeah, that would work.
Where they were like, you
That's a good idea.
4 minutes.
The other thing I was thinking is like, I had this idea of like the ball had like a chain on it and it could only travel a certain distance or something like that, but from its original starting point rather. That way, like, the balls are forced to be somewhat spread at least, but you get some control over where you put them, right?
Yeah.
The
I
fact
actually
that you
think
can put
Steal
them
the
all...
Bacon can be okay in a free-for-all type setting. I think you can have
Oh, for sure.
fun stuff there.
I mean,
sure.
that's entertaining.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I think that's the only scenario I can think of where a ball game kind of works.
Right.
Yeah, like, come to think of it, it's usually okay in free-for-alls.
What about a game type where you mix territories, flags, and captures balls, where their majority are flags, but then you throw in like 3 balls in there without like spiders or souls to move on the hills? Depending on how that was done, it could be fun.
Yeah, I've had the idea of having multiple game types too. That would be, I mean, shit. If Project Magma could potentially implement something like that, I don't see any reason why they couldn't. But who wants to put in the effort, you know?
Yeah, and the spiders and souls, right? Like, it's the terrain thing that's kind of weird, but you'd still have it fast, you know? It'd still just be erased.
They're working with crowded into fetch, and yeah, bad things happen to them.
Yeah, they end up having to take a terrible fight.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of have to take something terrible, so they did what they did. Just kind of can't really do anything uphill against dwarf heroes and souls.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my ratios now in the last 50 seconds. I mean...
Why am I telling Asmo to wake up? What happened? I wonder. I didn't even see.
I don't know.
Paris's fetch in the west was moving up the hill. And his Asmo's dwarf was there and not shooting it, I guess.
Yeah, I let you guys have all the fun and I stayed AFK in the west open that choke for any straggler.
30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I mean...
I was not going to look in two places after what Paris did
Damn,
last
you
game.
see the range on that shot from Eastman's dwarf at the end there?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I mean, that's the
Crazy.
thing, right? Like, this map is dumb for that reason, but, you know, again, like, it's really cool to, like, highlight myth concepts to people who haven't really seen it. It makes a really terrible tournament game.
Limp said this is a staple, so Limp is trying to defend his pick while everybody's bitching about it.
Yeah.
Game over.
It's like a staple in your thumb or something.
Pretty much. A staple. Who the hell plays this shit?
Yeah, I'm thinking like Milton, like you stole my stapler, double staple.
Right. All right, moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're exactly feeling proud of that win either. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I mean it was free.
Yeah.
Like attacking uphill into dwarf heroes and yeah.
I do like all the Tro picks though. Holy shit, third Tro game out of 4 so far played. That's crazy. I do like this map for us a lot.
I like this map in general too. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I like this mix of like dark and light units. It's unique.
Regular ass light map with Zerks and a Trow thrown in.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah, we
And
ended
a J-Man.
We ended up doing really well on this, I remember.
Which is standard light Dac, just like I said.
Well, it's just a J-Man with a Trow, right? Like,
Yeah. Goes pretty well together.
You don't see those very often.
What the max plus is. I guess it must be 3. Oh, wait, 4, I guess. Well, I don't
But it's
know.
also like on a Trow map you spend the heals on it.
Yeah.
So I give myself a roaming Zerk pack and Eastwind Trowing. Yeah, sounds about right.
We decided to forego Warriors in exchange for Thrall.
Yeah, I like that. I don't like the Warriors. To me, they just overpowered by everything else on the map, especially the Zerks and Tro. So
Yeah, agreed.
And then I'll ask the question again because we're here. Archers, I assume archers are good because you're pushing into a stable or a centralized position, right? Like in CTF. So archers are good because you're pushing on one point. You can't really run away from them all game.
no, actually, it's funny you say that, Dac. Typically, so CTF is the rushiest game type, and the more rushy the game type is, actually more heavily favors melee over archers. The reason you get archers here, it's the Tro. Archers instantly become more valuable because of the Tro. You need that defense against the Tro. If there was no Tro on this, just take the Tro away. Instantly, you're maxing warriors over the archers, 100%.
So just to go back in time then a little bit to the Barb Valley game, would the same be true with the souls on that map? Because you were kind of talking about how you like the souls less.
I definitely don't think you can go 0 souls just because of the fetch. It's more because of the fetch than the Tro on that one because so are you familiar with the map Desert Ruins at all? It's a very similar map as Barb Valley as far as units are, but just trade out fetch for locks. And the standard trade on that on Flag Rally is like 2 Morts, 0 Souls, and the rest Mauls. And it's like 3 Tro, 27 Merc, and you don't even get the souls at all. And I think it's, how do I explain this? Why do you get souls there, but on this you're getting archers? Um, so I think it's also because the strength of the melee units. So on bar value you have it's because of fetch too. We're talking about fetch on Bar Valley. Yeah. So I feel like if you took away the fetch on Bar Valley, you would not want to get souls so much, and it would play out more like Desert Ruins, like I was saying, where like you just get a few morts maybe, and the rest mauls.
I don't think you need. I mean, Bar Valley. I think we could have gone all malls there with no souls.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not it's
that's only fair,
viable.
to be honest, because it was Flag Rally. It wasn't.
I feel like I still want to get 5 souls, but I definitely don't feel like you need many. Yeah, I would use souls purely as tro defense and not try to do anything else. And when you're using them as just tro defense, you don't need that many. Like 5 is good, 5 or 6.
So you split the archers up here, and are they strictly for trow defense? Because you're saying in CTF you'd prefer heavier melee, and you did go heavier melee. Right,
No. Here you're using them more offensively too. It's not just trow defense, but they kind of zone the tro out so that the rest of the units can, like, you're preventing the tro from getting in the face of your units, because otherwise you'd set up tro RD pushes or rush shit down or whatever, right? So it zones the tro out so the rest of the units are effective, kind of provides a blanket of protection, and then it becomes like a slow siege force is what ends up happening on these types of maps. Like CTF does create an anchor point, and with the archers like this, it becomes like a slow siege force. So you slowly try to maneuver this siege force closer to their flag, and if you get those archers in range of the flag and you get good position, they're gonna get screwed. So.
Right, but that's what I was saying. I would think that, but then you said no, it's more rushy, so it favors the melee trade more heavily. So you're saying that the archers are good for preventing the trow rush, and then eventually they can kind of push in. So I guess I'm asking if you would do this trade again. Would you change anything about it?
Yes, I think I would. Because the warriors they're too squishy against everything else. The Zerks can run them down and clean them up super clean. The Tro too. The wars aren't that effective against archers, dwarfs, and thrall either. Especially without goal pack support. There's no goal pack on this, so it's more about, think of it less in terms of rush or no rush. That's the whole point. If you remember my 2011 article about the push factor, it was all about like pushing, not rushing, right? Like this is all about whatever maximizes the amount of push that you have. You're not trying to and the difference there being like a push is like a slow squeeze, whereas the rush is like I'm going all in right now. The push is all about like slowly, like I always think of like a boa constrictor, like slowly wrapping around and then squeezing the life out. Like you're just constantly angling, maneuvering for slightly better position until you get that full chokehold, and then you squeeze, right? That's the push. So that's what you can achieve here with when I look at this trade versus a no archer max warrior trade. This feels more pushy to me because those warriors are just gonna have to run away from freaking everything else against this type of trade. That's what I see here. I don't know. Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
So
Kind of agree about the war sucking.
yeah, the warriors are horrible here because okay, you max warriors and get no archers. Like, what are you gonna do with those warriors? Okay, you're gonna set up a rush on the archers, but the trow can't support the warrior rush because your bows will just target the trow, and then your trow / thrall zerks are gonna destroy the push, right? Because they won't have the trow support due to the archers. Archers don't need to run; they can just stop and fire at the trow, so they can't enter the fight.
By the way, archers are pretty effective at zoning the zerks out too, because the zerks are pretty powerful melee on this as well. So. Yeah, like think about that, Dac. Like your tro can't support a melee rush if it's going up against a bunch of archers, right? And so then the archers are just gonna pick off everything else, and then you're gonna run into a bunch of archers and thrall, right? And you're gonna trade what? You're gonna trade your warriors and zerks for archers and thrall. That's a terrible trade, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Dac, or no?
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, I was muted.
All right, you guys ready to start it?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Game on.
But yeah, it was a good question. It's a good discussion on that. A lot of people do get that wrong still, I feel. There definitely could be an argument to be made about like maybe a few less dwarfs here, and maybe like if you were gonna get a little bit of warriors, definitely wouldn't want to max them. But if you were gonna get a few warriors, you would still use them in a similar way as Thrall on this, right? They're
Yeah,
just
is
they're
it max
just meat.
Thrall?
Is this max Thrall? I think I'm not sure, but if it's not, it must be close. I think.
It looked like it. There was a lot.
It seems like a lot of dwarves for a GKG strat too.
Yeah, I usually don't like getting that many dwarfs. I agree. If you were gonna, I definitely feel like you could get a few warriors on this, but you would use them in a similar way as as the thrall, some kind of defensive meat shield for the archers. Basically, is the way you'd use them.
Cool. I need AFK for a few minutes, guys. I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and flank around. So I remember the reason I gave myself the Zerks on this instead of the Tro. Normally I like to put myself on Tro, but Troing on this is a little more defensive, kind of like on Grilling Grounds. So you don't necessarily need to have your best Troers on Tro on those maps. And also with this Zerk flank here, it's kind of a complicated role, and it puts me in a position to like just do a lot of different feel them out essentially, and not have to constantly instruct somebody else what to do to feel the other team out. I'll just know how I want to feel them out, and also puts me in a good position to like recon, be able to look around the map some, and be just kind of like putting me in the shot caller chair a little bit better to be able to see everything. So and give me time to say stuff. I do like those roaming melee packs for captains in that sense.
It's like we're just chilling mid and waiting for the thrall to get there.
Yeah. Looks like Paris is trying to feel us out with a Zerk scout in the north, and I'm shadowing.
Looks like I had the idea to satchel the water and there's a white in there. Interesting.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like that. I like satcheling the water like that.
It's like a whole lot of camping right now.
14-minute game too. Yikes.
Yeah, CTF. Can't. Man, long CTFs can be brutal. In this map, there's like so many narrow chokeholds for these archers to go through. Like, Arzenic is holding off like double the amount, just 4 archers.
We're really taking our time because we literally sent our Tro back to go run down and kick one Zerk. We're like, oh yeah, we got 2 minutes we can spend on that.
Why not?
And the reason you can do that is because like they're again with so many archers, their Tro isn't really going to be able to push in anywhere to do anything. Oh, Eastwind backs off. Why? He had already ran halfway over there and then he backs out. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. Where is their Tro anyway? I don't see it. Oh, it's in the far southeast. Sam's flanking way around with his Tro. I really don't like that move. In general, you should almost never send your Tro off by themselves without support. Both melee, small melee support and arty support. The Tro should be more of like a central piece to a broader team formation.
Well, looks like Arzenic's gonna spot it. This single goal.
Yep. Yeah. Smart on ours. Really smart. Not getting complacent, even though it's quiet everywhere. Yeah, Sam could have easily... If Sam had leaked through there, that would have been a disaster for us, for sure. Because we don't have exactly fast units to run back, like, to defend a whole Tro.
A Dode 10 Thrall would beat... Or, yeah, a Dode 10 Thrall would beat that. They're just a bit too slow. Oh, that's brutal. Or I was kind of accidentally shut his own goal instead of that Zerk.
Okay, we're backing off a little bit from this to defend this Tro, I guess. I think we're playing too scared, honestly. We should have almost baited that Tro in a little bit more, I feel.
Sorry, I had to step away for a second. What do you think of doing a strat here where you use I mean, I'm trying to think it through my head. I haven't put too much thought in it about doing a Thrall Archer push.
Yeah, like the
light map thing.
Yeah. No, I like it a lot. That's exactly what I would have done. Yeah, I don't know why we're not doing that, to be honest. I didn't think of it back then. You know, I didn't know it back then. Yeah, 100%. That's what you should do. And this is a slow Archer Thrall. The only thing you don't have is you don't have a goal pack, but you kind of have a Tro instead of a goal pack. So, and you have Zerks too instead of a gold pack. So, just like I was telling Dac, you want to set up that slow siege force. So yeah, 100%. That's what you should do. I didn't know that strat at this time. That's probably what I would do now today on this.
Kind of losing their Zerk health 1 unit at a time. They've just suicided 1. They only have 12 at the start.
Although
so we should be good to push.
At Asmo, the one concern about doing that strat on this is this map too big and wide? Just like on Karakadarn it was. Because, like, well, you get countered through mid, you know? So, but the thing is, there's not that much fast melee to counter it through mid either. Like, you only got the 1 Tro and, like, 12 Zerks, kind of. I feel like they would eat a ton of damage trying to push through mid by themselves.
So something you could do to set up the Thrall Archer push, like there are Zerks and they did trade for Warriors, so you know maybe it could break those through north and stuff since we're doing a Thrall Archer massive flank. But something we could do to counter that is, you know, people aren't maxing pus on this map, so we could plant a white near mid and a white near north to counter that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's viable. I still think it's viable on this. I would definitely, I would do it north or on the near side, whichever start you are. Get cross that river as fast as possible, so you're on open terrain after that, and then slow push it. And I would do a 2-prong, you know, sit mid with everything else, and just wait for that push to get around.
Let them react to it, then you can. They got a white planet in south right now.
Yeah, Eastman goes around it.
Gets value. Oh, they got another one. Wow, they got a lot of whites. Good.
Yeah, he's going around 1 right into another.
Why doesn't Sam have any Zerk support with him?
Yeah, that's a big mistake on their part. That he should definitely have at least a few Zerks at that Tro.
Like all their Zerks are.
I think he even complains about it later in the game.
So all their Zerks that they have left are north, but they're playing defensive. It's so weird. Like if you're gonna commit your Zerks away from your trial, they gotta be aggressive where they have the advantage.
Their flag is pretty vulnerable there. They just have some Thrall, a few Warriors, and a Trow, and there's a couple of pus with those 4 Zerks of East Winds with the Trow. You could take that. Oh, there's a white in that water though. I guess
that white. If that white doesn't take out the pus, then yeah, Eastman can take that flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely not defending that flag nearly enough. I agree. Yeah.
East one's
It's like he's kind of crossing 1 or 2 units at a time. So
Which is smart. It's exactly what you should do, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm in the chat calling that they have him right there. I think I saw the other crossing too.
Yeah, that white's not going to get any value, really.
Yeah, I can just get maybe a Puskull.
Yeah, the East one's doing a great job here, getting into a really nice position. That's gonna now they're scared. Now you see Cruniac backing off. Yep, he's peeling off, which is gonna allow ours to push. And then then you're gonna see their whole team collapse because this is like a classic example of getting pinned on your flag. Like if your flag is vulnerable in any way, it's gonna start forcing the rest of your team is gonna have this cascading chain effect of your whole team starting to collapse and turtle up around the flag, and then you just get your whole team pinned on your flag, and then the opposing team runs a timer out, guaranteed winner tie for them. So
Yeah, Easton's doing good this game. He's
Yeah.
at this point he's pretty much guaranteed a tire win.
he's playing for position. He's playing the position game. He's not trying to force anything. It's really perfect. Yeah, he's playing great.
Yeah, he's brought a whole lot of stuff, percentage points back to defend against his smaller force. Yeah, it's pretty good.
And now he's keeping them guessing. He's gonna move around a little bit more. Keep them guessing. Keep them moving around. Oh yeah, Eastman's talking about rushing north, pinching north. I like that idea. I don't think we end up doing it. Let our north. I'm saying let our north push. Look their flag. They all
5
left.
minutes remaining.
Yeah, our north is starting to push in, so I think we're just waiting for our slow north to get in position. Basically setting up the thing that we were just talking about, Asmo, but like we took like 8 minutes to set it up rather than just doing it at the start of the game, right? So
Yeah, even by Eastwind gesturing north, even for a little bit, it caused the north to completely start to fall back too.
yeah, they get nervous. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Those little I love that that type of play. I do that all the time too. Like I'll do fake outs all the time just to kind of get them guessing. Be unpredictable. It's important. So yeah, like you said, as Eastwind making that little gesture now is helping our north to push up even more, causing them to get pinned even more because they're getting nervous. I'm calling north slow push. Mid and south be ready. So I'm gonna want that mid and south to start pushing here. I'm waiting to see the rest of their team kind of collapse, and then I want the rest of our guys to push in. Eastwind just running away from those archers. Yep. And he's always putting the walls in between him and the archers. That's good. Yeah, unfortunately, those archers that Cruniac has can't really defend against the Tro very well because there's walls everywhere. Our north is just about pinching. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm rushing mid. Yep, I'm calling it. Collapsing on their mid now. Rush mid. So now Asmo, you're pushing in from middle. Yep, we're gonna set up a pinch on their mid. I like this push. This looks really good.
That's coordinated right now.
Great.
I'm doing a nice job with the Zerks too. I got the dwarf. Yeah, I did a nice job with that Zerk push there. Hopefully I don't take too much damage. I should back out probably pretty soon. I did what I needed to do, which was to force them to collapse and get the dwarf. So now I can back out.
This one's fighting Sam right now.
Unfortunate Puss died from Paris.
Yeah, that same Puss done it twice actually. That fight.
Damn.
I don't know if it was ours first or not. I can't remember, but he picked it up.
Paris has still got a dangerous, healthy Zerg pack here. Ours and Asmo got to be careful.
Yeah, I feel like I've just had defense every game, just chilling at home.
Ours got a nice dwarf shot killing 2 Zerks. Oh, Asmo's got another dwarf way in the back, ready to support. Oh, and then Paris is forced to fight Thrall with the Zerks. Oh, that's going to be bad for him. Yeah, he's screwed. He's going to be forced to back out.
Yeah, the Zerks are getting shot to death right now.
So now I'm worried. I'm calling 2 minutes. I'm worried about us running out of time. Like, I know we have the great position and everything. Now I need to make sure we don't end up tying this damn thing.
And 20%.
Eastwind doing still a great job. He's got all 4 of his Zergs still. He ended up falling back and getting a heal. He's got 2 heals left.
Ooh, Sam's trial got.
Sam's trapped. Yeah. Oh, and Eastwind goes for the kill. Eastwind's having a great game.
Yeah.
Eastwind recognizes it right away. He's gonna pick off the J-Man.
Oh, the J-Man, yeah. Nice.
Nice. Gets the stone. Oh yeah,
game
great.
over.
This is one of the best games I've seen Eastwind play. Really great.
That was a good pickoff.
Flag.
That Trow getting
contested.
trapped behind its own J-Man was pretty
Yeah.
Yeah. Eastwind like MVP this game. That was some great
Yeah, for
throwing.
sure.
We played this game really clean though, like the push
Really
and
clean.
everywhere else was
Yeah.
yeah.
This was really well executed by us. I agree.
That puzz that GKG had picked up got it again.
Yeah.
The goal gets the kill.
And they get the plus on the Warriors. Oh, I done it again.
That's funny. 4 times crazy.
Ours is dwarfing some archers. Oh my god, that's funny.
Oh, land white.
Their last unit.
Not gonna
Nice.
do anything though. It's just stopping.
That was really great team execution by us. I
Well,
enjoyed that.
Helped finish Samuel off there.
Set up a nice rush on their. Yeah, ours is saying amazing Eastwind. Yeah, that was. I mean, we were just talking about this, Asmo. Like, was Eastwind really that great? I mean, in 2013, at least from this game so far, I think he was good. Yeah, he's definitely playing better so far in 2013 from what we're seeing compared to 2018, right? So.
Yeah, his drawing was really good there. He was distracting. He was making them commit more guys defending against him than his percentage was worth. It was pretty good.
We haven't done the Mithril Cups that are arguably his peak, like 2012 through 14.
Yeah,
So,
I think that. Yeah, I agree. I think that those years were his peak. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, I'm moving on to the next one. I really like this pick for us too.
That's a fun pick.
So it's 2-2 now. So already we've tied it up 2-2. Kind of erased the first 2 games that we got down on. And going into the last 3 games of the match, I feel pretty confident for us. Like this one in particular, I really like. This. I feel like we're gonna get an advantage of the strategy on this. So. Yeah, see, Sam is complaining that he had Warriors instead of Zerks with his Tro, and he's right. I mean, he should have had Zerks with his Tro. That's why you don't give, like, the fact that his Tro got trapped there because it was with the Warriors, that's why you don't put slow Warriors with a Tro, right? He should have had Zerks. He's right about that.
What are the assassin targets on this?
Warlocks.
Uh,
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to go here in a minute, but I'm gonna ask the question again. Why archers here?
So yeah,
Is
instead
it
of
warlocks?
instead of Warriors,
So
I think
that's a
there's warriors on
choice,
this.
right? Is it archers versus warriors? Because I see
I think
past
so.
melee with Zerks and Herons.
I think it's Warriors on this. I think so. So again, like, just look at everything that just, like, the Hurons. Whenever you put Warriors in combination with other way more powerful melee, they just lose their value, right? Like, Warriors are no real advantage over Thrall. They just move faster. The Warriors become like faster moving Thrall, basically, but they're double the cost, right? Whenever you put them on maps with like Artie, heavier Artie, so we got those are regular dwarfs, fine, but like we got Locks and Hurons and Zerks. Those 3 units are just gonna tear through the Warriors. So
Okay.
I'd have to go through maps and like do the math, but I feel like anytime a warrior has two different melee types that are just as fast or faster than them and stronger than them, become weak.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the last game was the Drowned Zerk.
Well, I was wondering if it's a kind of thing where you turn it into a Badlands type game where you just rush it. I know that I don't know if it was this year or a different year. We had like a Haber Delmere assassin where the assassin targets were they fetch? They were either fetch or warlocks. And we did an all melee and we just rushed them and killed them basically with it. Turning it into like a Badlands type game, but with Trow too, because the Trow can really push all that. And we went 0 souls there. I'm not saying that 0 archers is right here. I'm just asking the question because you are a 0 archer evangelist, but we're seeing 0 archers.
So, also think about this, Dac. Locks are the assassin unit, and archers do a decent job actually already fighting with locks, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so they're gonna push the locks back. Like, usually a lock can try to fight with the archers a little bit until it gets red, and then it really can't, and then it's got to back out completely.
Right.
So that's the other thing here. What archers are great for is zoning things out, right? Like, it's
Right.
people for so many years people thought about like, oh, they treated archers like an arms race. Like, oh, I need to get more archers than the other team so that I can win the archer fight because that's what archers are used for, is the archer versus archer fighting. But actually, if you're really playing this game at a higher level, I think it's pretty rare actually to just see pure archer on archer battles. It's almost never the case anymore. It's always they're working in combination with some other units, and it's archers against something else. Usually, that's being used to zone things out or provide synergy with other things, like getting damage. Getting damage when things are pussed is a great use of archers. I love them for that too. So yeah, like think about it. Like you get something pussed on this, you get some Zerk's pussed or a lock puss. The archers are great for finishing it, right? So
True that.
Cool. All right. I'm going to have to bounce, guys.
all right,
All
see
right,
you,
later,
man.
dude.
Good talking to you. See ya. All right, I'm at 1357. If you guys can get there.
All right.
All right, I'm there.
All right, going 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, I think there could be an argument for warriors over archers if the assassin unit wasn't the lock.
Yeah.
Like if the assassin unit was like a hero maybe, then yeah, maybe you can pull it off. But I mean, trading for warriors instead of archers, and I guess your goal would be to run away from them until the end and do a suicide rush at the end and win. But the problem is all those units would outrun the locks. Your locks would get left behind, being the assassin unit.
Yeah, I really look at them as kind of like I guess you could have a war pack with the Zerks to provide some extra meat for the Zerk force, but it's kind of hard. Usually they end up getting used as just kind of faster thrall on these types of maps. I definitely think you don't have to go heavy archers. Like, we went pretty heavy archers here. This is 20 archers. That's really heavy. Definitely, I think 10 might be viable on this. You got to think too, though. If you're going to go heavier warriors, the more you favor just running the timer out and making a play with those warriors at the end of the game, right? If you don't get the warriors, you're going to want to just be more aggressive with your archers and try to get the value there throughout the game. And given that this map is so small, I think it's really easy. It's a lot easier for the archers to get their value on. It's hard. It's really hard to run away from the archers for like 10 minutes on this.
To me, that's the key thing. That's what I was going to mention too. I think it's like how small the map is and not a lot of passable terrain. So like
Yeah.
it's sort of hard to just run away from archers with how small it is.
Yeah, it does look like a good map for archers.
The warriors are just meats. You have to realize that they're not going to do any real damage unto themselves. Their only value is to absorb some damage that would have otherwise gone onto the Zerks and Hurons or something else, right? They're just meat essentially. So the warriors can only get their value if they can be used in that way.
True.
They have to like basically be used at one critical moment in time where they absorb the damage and some kind of overwhelming attack happens to get some advantage. That you avoided some damage on your more important units and sucked up the damage of the warriors. I'm surprised we're not pushing onto their side of the map. I thought line up and fight, guys. Let's push mid. Yeah, I want us to push onto their side of the map. I'm pretty sure. There's nothing really holding us on the east side or even middle. Like we could push onto their side. I don't know why we're not doing it. I'm saying they got a similar trade, but they have dedicated melee packs. Yeah, I opted for and I usually like dedicated melee, honestly. This is a kind of a rare example where I end up not doing that just because there's too much RD to control on the map, I think. And I do see this as a BC fight with the RD, I think, too.
We're kind of just chilling on our side of the map, just holding the line.
So now I'm finally saying to Jugger East. I don't know why I didn't say that to do that earlier. I thought that was my strat all along on this, but maybe not. How many archers? Oh, they got a similar amount of archers too. Yeah, we both got 20 archers. Yeah, we both basically got the same trade, I think.
The locked are all in the west flank.
I'm saying help me push east. I'm trying to push east with my lock and melee. Got archer support with me. I definitely don't, like, with our trade, I definitely want to BC fight them. Like, we have all of our micro optimized to BC fight with the RD. So that's the kind of engagement I want to get into with them. If they have dedicated melee packs, that's more favorable for them rushing at the end of the game. I don't want to wait till the end. I want to get my value with the BC fight here. Really surprised how long it took us to finally do this, Asmo. I feel like if this had been played like 10 years later or something recent now, like, we're a lot faster, I feel, in making these types of decisions. It just feels very slow to me, doesn't it, to you?
Yeah, for sure. No, I feel like we see the, what's the word? The checkmate, I guess. Like the checkmate slower. Like now
Yeah.
we see
Yeah,
that, like, essentially
it's gotten a
from the
lot
get-go.
faster, the execution of things like that, yeah. I like how all of us are staying together for the most part. Yeah, nobody's really, like, stranded by themselves. Line up and fight. Yes. That is what we should do. 8 minutes.
Little duel between Ratking and Wayward One with archers.
Yeah, I saw that. Kind of an even trade.
I feel like they should be playing this different right now. They got a melee pack behind us on the east side and a gold pack. They should just be running south right now, I feel like, with the rest of their force and hope that that little melee pack can pick off one of our locks like at the very end.
Yeah, they need to
They should be
either...
just running from us.
Yeah, I agree. And also, their north is, like, choosing to fight in a really narrow choke. That's really disadvantageous for them. They need to get away from... They want to find wider ground for themselves. Which, I don't know if they're really going to find it. We seem to have wider ground.
Yeah, not really great terrain for them up there.
Doesn't really open up that much for them until much later.
It's like it's kind of just a big fight in the north.
Yeah, just so like I want to explain this to the audience because I feel like a lot of people don't understand this. Like, whenever you're doing like these lineup and BC fight engagements, it's all about the team formation, and also when you have a heavy archers, which is common whenever you're doing a big BC fight. It's all about setting up a really optimal team formation, and so that's what allows you to win the BC fight. It's all about collapsing the enemy's archer line from the ends. So you want to set up a really strong, spread out center archer line, which is going to be the center of your whole team formation. And then you can see me, I'm automatically putting my lock on the side because I know that's where my lock should be. I should be on the side of the archer formation, and I should be pressuring the helping to apply pressure on the side of their archer formation. The reason you do that is so that the locks, you never want to fight your locks in the center of the enemy archers because like it's gonna be open to all kinds of angles for arrows, right? Like when you put them on the side, it's a lot harder for the archers to get to them. And same with the melee. So the locks in the melee should be applying pressure to the side of the enemy team's archers, and just forcing those enemy archers to not be spread out as much. And just usually whichever team's archers are clumped up more is who loses, right? That's how you win archer battles, is by being more spread out and having a stronger line and having stronger pressure on the sides. It's not about the number of archers, and that's why people need to understand you don't need to trade for more archers to win the archer fight. Usually like 10 is more than enough. It's all about efficient use of all your units to help win the archer fight, and synergies, applying pressure from the sides. So my lock is literally hugging the north side of the map. I'm like literally just trying to put as much pressure from the side as possible. And you see their archer, their lock. Their lock is much more in the center of our archers, and it can't stay there, otherwise it's going to start taking damage. We're able to push, I think, much more effectively here at this point because we just have a better team formation with our archers. Right now, the fire is kind of screwing everything up, but
Yeah, like both sides are kind of suffering from that fire. All that grass in this map. Really good for fire arrows.
we're really just trying to like the terrain we're in right now is the worst terrain to be in. We need to just push through this little choky, tough spot right here. This is the danger zone, and this is why I'm trying to use my locks mana to kind of just push us through. Right now, if I was them, I would be fully committed to keeping us in this choke right here. This is like the kill zone for them. They have to do everything. They should take the whole engagement. They should not let us through this choke ever. If they let us through this choke,
for Eastman's lock right now.
Oh, yeah. Yep, okay. Yep. So they're up now. They're up by 1. 3.5 minutes. Oh, we're about to trade, though. We're about to trade locks, but they'll be up. They'll still have a lead. Oh, I hope we finish that lock. Oh, my God. Maybe not. Jesus Christ.
Your lock.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Your lock probably would have.
Okay, so 3 minutes. 3 minutes is still plenty of time.
They're down a lot of bus right now. They've used tons of it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we were down a lock until just now. So now I realize we need to actually be really aggressive. Push, yep. We cannot let them run. They should literally be running right now. Those locks should be running for their lives on the other side of the map. You know what I mean? Like 245, they could just run right now. They're not running though. Yeah, especially Sam's lock. Sam's lock is moving forward. It's crazy what he's doing. It's so crazy. He should be running his ass off.
I guarantee his lock's gonna die. He should have been running that a while ago.
Yeah, with so little time. As soon as it goes over 3 minutes.
Oh, he shot his own archer.
Oh, wow, yeah. PK kind of ran into it a little bit, too.
Yeah, true.
He had time to dodge that. That's why Sam's like, PK, wow. So we're only up by 3%. That's not that big. Like this is anybody's game still.
We got a semi-surround on him now too.
We do. Yeah, our formation is definitely still better. Yeah. They're kind of turtling up now a little bit too much, and their locks are not able to support anymore. We have the momentum, and you can see like once you have the momentum, like our locks are able to still push, but their locks aren't able to do anything. So the rest of their units are going to collapse.
They're
But
stuck
one-
in behind their other units, and they can't even get a shot off, whereas ours are on the edges. And
Right.
I do like what you've been doing with yours this entire game, GKG. You're kind of just hugging the edges, just
Yes.
kind of being out of danger, so you're able to like irritate them with your shots.
Yeah,
Whereas
people...
you're not likely to get, flanked and killed.
Exactly. People don't understand that nearly well enough about how the position of things in like team formations. When you're lining up BC fights for the whole team, it's a more complicated formation because you're talking about like 5 or 6 squads trying to work together. And
He's on top of the lock right now.
Yep. He's gonna get it too. Yep. And that's game. That's it. As soon as that lock went down, it's game over.
Like those locks have just been behind their own shit for so long with full mana. They've been completely
The double plus at the end there, just to finish it. Kind of rub salt in the wound. Yeah, I really liked my locking there too. I was doing exactly the right thing, just hugging the edge of that map. The locks are kind of like a siege force. They're just like they just kind of push and zone things. They put pressure, and you want to put the pressure right in the right spot and not put the lock in any kind of vulnerable position to get hit. So their locks were... I didn't like the position of their locks. They were far too much in the middle. They should have been at the edges. So. The archers are kind of responsible for being the central push force in the middle of the formation, especially when the locks are the assassin unit. You want to be even more protective of them. So, yeah, I like how our team fought that. They made a really big crucial mistake letting us through that choke. They had to keep us in that choke. They didn't recognize it, I feel. I might not have recognized it back then either, but nowadays I'm always looking for like, hey, what's the kill zone here? And if you look at the most choky, kind of awkward terrain in that north, that is like the kill zone. And if I was on their team at that moment in time, I would have been saying, if you need to throw your melee in to hold them in that choke, do so. Like it's... Keep them locked in there they should have taken their fight all in right there instead of backing out of it. As soon as they backed out of it, now the advantage is ours again. So
yeah, agreed. And that choke is extra deadly with those fire arrows too.
Yeah, and they used a bunch of fire there. I mean, props to them. They did use their fire pretty effectively, but they should have fought more aggressively to hold that choke, I feel. Yeah, I like the way our team played that out. That was good. Just the only comment was, as I mentioned before, I'm really surprised how long it took us to make that decision to Jugger East. Like, it just felt glacially slow compared to like how I would make decisions and call things like that today, I feel. So, otherwise, that was a good game. It was a fun one. So we're up 3-2 at this point. Oh, and another Tro. Holy shit! There's 4 out of 7 Tro maps on this MWC Finals. That must be the most Tro maps up any MWC Finals, I feel. That's a lot. Oh, I remember this game. Oh, yeah, I remember this. So this game actually goes in one of my highlights, like all-time highlights, especially for Troing. I love showing this game to people for Troing because there's some very unconventional things that happen with the Troing on this that kind of break some principles, but they were still the right call in the end, and I'll explain why when we get to them. But yeah, this is a really fun one to piece apart, and I can explain to you exactly what my decision making was on this, since I'm the one kind of driving a lot of... I have the 3 Tro, so I'm primary Trower, and I end up kind of making a lot of the major plays in this game that kind of decides how everybody reacts. So
it's interesting. It looks like they got 6 fetch and we only got 2 with a whole bunch of 4 mortars.
Yeah, I really liked our trade on this. I'll explain that actually. That's a great point because we were talking about that a little bit on Dark Canyon 2, with the less than max fetch. So on this, I really don't like maxing fetch on this for a few reasons. Number one is there's really not much melee for the fetch to even zap that well, because like Tro are super resistant to fetch, and even Myrks are fairly resistant to fetch too. So there's just not really good targets. Like I see this sometimes on similar maps as this with Stigs on them too. Like Stig's pretty resistant to fetch. So that's number one. So it's like their best targets are basically Zerks or Mauls, but it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be pretty easy for the Zerks and Mauls to avoid the fetch, right? And then the other thing is like, if you have a Mort guy with 2 Morts, or even a Mort guy with 1 Mort that's on a hill, Morts, they only slightly outrange the fetch, but and the fetch can block them a lot of times. But if a Mort has either a hill or a second Mort backup to stagger their Mort shots, it becomes very difficult for fetchers to block, and usually the Morts will win those engagements. And so that's why I opted for less than max on this, and that's why I really felt confident about this trade going into this, because I knew pretty well that they were probably going to max fetch. Everybody maxes fetch on this, so I really liked using Morts here to do the arty fighting for us. Like, yeah, okay, you don't get to set up the Tro fetch pushes, but again, like I said, I don't think the Tro fetch pushes are super dominant on this, because just there's not much melee that's weak to the fetch shots, and the Morts are going to zone out the fetch on their own anyway, for the most part, if done well anyway. So I think on this we end up doing a 3-prong, and most of the action happens in the south. We'll see. They end up doing Sam and Limp on Tro. I always like Sam on Tro. Limp, he's a much more defensive Troer, I would just say, generally. And I haven't totally been in love with his Troing, but I do like Limp's shot calling, and maybe that puts him in a position to at least shot call instead of already be busy with arty fighting. So yeah, I don't know. I do favor us. I like our team on Tro more than theirs. They have one, I feel like, one good Troer with Sam. Paris, I'm actually surprised they didn't put Paris on Tro, to be honest. Paris is kind of known to be somewhat of a Troer as well, so I'm surprised they put Limp over Paris on Tro, to be honest. That's kind of unusual.
That is odd, yeah.
Or even Cruniac. I guess Cruniac wasn't known as a Troer at this point in time yet. He obviously became much more known as a Troer later on, but yeah, that's Limp on Tro is an odd choice to me, even at 2013, I think. But oh well.
Yeah, I'm curious how it goes with these 6 fetch versus 2 with this terrain. I guess it is flag rally, so it's going to be more spreading out. It's a pretty big map.
So I know what I'm gonna tell my mortar guys. Well, I would have already told them, is like they need to be ready to retreat to some hills, and they need to stagger their shots. And as long as they do that, they should be okay to hold off enemy fetch. And then our fetch just need to obviously not try to engage in a fetch-on-fetch battle. That obviously we would lose that. But any other comments on this one, Asmo, before we start?
Just one thing I noticed, we have 1 soul. I think there's
Oh.
I want to say we send that north because it can, like, maybe it's north that it can contest.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that north flag has a soul hill close enough to it that we can hold it just with the soul. So that's absolutely what we're doing. So that goes into like researching the little nitty bitty details of maps like that. So yeah, you guys ready to start it?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Game.
I'll have to do a lot of fast talking on this because there's a lot of very quick, big decisions I make here later on in the game. And I'll try to explain them. I'll try to start explaining a little bit of it ahead of time. So I have a pretty large Myrk force with my Tro as well. And I always say don't set up the Tro arty pushes and, you know, I'm always talking about setting up Tro arty pushes and not flanking off Tro by themselves without arty support. You are going to see me do that in this, so I'm like breaking some of my own rules, right? But the reason for that is that the way I saw this map play out in my mind is I really felt that getting victory imminent was pretty important, or even getting two flag advantage and I felt like this was going to aggressively play
captured.
out, where like
Flag
the Tro
captured.
Myrk on this is just so overpowering relative to the other units on the map that it's
Flag
really actually hard to
captured.
defend against. If you're going to
Flag
talk about
captured.
doing strong Tro melee pushes without RD support, this is kind of an example of a map where you could kind of get away with it, right? Because yeah, there's fetch, sure, but the melee, just like the melee is going to overpower fetch, especially Tro and Myrk, right? So if you have a superior Tro Myrk force, it's going to overpower fetch. All right, so here we go. All right, go
Well, one
ahead.
important thing is in the north, they're flanking 2 Trow up there, and they're gonna get no advantage because it's the soul. It's
Yep.
the soul hill. They're not even getting the
Yep.
tags. They're just wasting time.
Yep.
While we're getting
Yeah,
tags
that's
out,
they're doing even worse because they have 2 Tro up there with no small melee support. So here I make the move here in the south. I instantly recognize that I don't want to mess with PK's force here. I'm gonna take too much damage I could kill him. So this is why I love to use this as an example. I could kill PK here, and I feel 90% of players would take that kill. But I recognize I'm gonna take too much damage, and I don't want to take that much damage doing that. So I instantly back out my small melee and put the Tro in, going straight for the tag in the back. I know that I can get it because I can get their tag in the back first before their Tro can get there. So I know I got that tag. Now I'm just backing off. Their 3 Tro are coming to respond to me. Myrk's going to get a little nervous here because he's got 3 Tro on him. And I think I end up handing off my melee to Myrk here. At this point, I want Myrk to back out because they got 3 Tro there. I don't want them to set up a Tro more push on Myrk right here. So I'm in 2 different spots right now. Okay, I split off my Tro. I realize I only need 1 Tro to take their home flag, and I send 2 Tro back immediately. I'm gonna double back. I'm going straight for flags. That's what I really want to illustrate here. I'm not worried about BC fighting them at all. I'm hyper focused on flags. I know that I can pressure them on flags to win the BC fight. I can use a flag game type advantage to win the BC fight for them. So here now go ahead.
Also, really important, like you saved Myrk by doing that because they sent PK back because they realized there wasn't a game time. Now Myrk doesn't even die for what?
Yeah, exactly.
There's let me zap a bunch of Mercs for free too.
Yep. So now I got the flag, I got the Mort. Now they can't do the Tro Mort push on Myrk anymore in the south. And then I back right out. I got 2 flags basically already for free, and I only need 1 more now to get VI.
They're getting ran in circles right now.
Now Limp's Tro end up like running around the map. You're gonna see Eastwind. He wants me to trap Limp's Tro, but I know that that's gonna take way too long and be too difficult to try and pull off. So I'm kind of ignoring him. I'm telling everybody to get flags. I'm focused on flags the entire time. I feel like people do not focus nearly enough on, especially during this time. People have gotten better over the years about this, but at this time in 2013, people were not nearly as focused enough on playing game type, and that was the big lesson that I always like to illustrate with this game is like just be laser focused on flags. Any easy flag that I saw that I could take, I took it. And I didn't worry about BC fighting anything. So now I'm in their backfield with 3 Tro. This is super unconventional. Like you wouldn't normally want to do this, but the only reason I'm doing this is because I feel like I got enough distance from their Tro. No, I don't. I don't think I have enough. But like the thing I was trying to set up was get enough distance from their Tro to tag 1 more flag, right? I'm only worried about the flags here. Now I'm not going to get it, but their team is essentially now turtling up. Like they're not going to be able to defend that middle flag, right? Defending the middle flag is going to be too difficult. So
Did they send all those crit north? That's so many crit to be defending a flag. Like,
yeah, they're so turtled up. Yeah, exactly. They're so turtled up on defense right now because we got such a good strong early flag advantage. And now they're 6 fetch middle are like forced to like try and defend in this awkward position. They're trying to hold that middle flag, right? It's like super awkward for them. I'm surprised Ratking's Mort doesn't try to take that hill a little bit better. Just go a little bit north to get on that hill. Okay, now I'm flanking my melee squad in the south because I want to flank them all the way around to get that flag. I'm focused on flags the entire time.
do you run meta right here?
No. I think I go right back in their backfield. I'm focused on flags. Look at me. I'm going straight for that flag. Oh, I back out again. Okay. I'm focused on flags the entire time. I'm so laser focused on it. Yeah, I go back into their backfield. I want the flag.
Yeah, their trial, I don't know. They're in a tough spot.
No, yeah, I don't think I'm
trial
gonna
shadowing like just loses the game for them.
Yeah, they're forced to like just shadow me the whole time. They're out of the fight. Look at this. Look at this. They're pulling what's that? PK? PK's melee is now their whole team is forced to turtle up. They're turtling up like pretty badly right now. Their middle is gonna get screwed up here because that middle is not gonna be able to defend that.
I'm assuming we're gonna kill mid or no eventually, so that they pulled all that melee from it.
I need to. Okay, they send a fetch back. PK's yeah. So I got my. I'm linking up my Tro with my melee here. I probably still don't have enough to take it, but it's fine. Like I'm just keeping them pinned back there. Oh, Sam's letting me leak through. Oh, Sam let me leak through. Look at that. I was staying so focused on the flag the whole time, and then Sam just lets me just leak through to get that flag.
Yeah, getting that now.
Someone's taking a trout fire.
Eastwind is good with that Tro engagement, I would say. He's up in health anyway.
Yeah, they're
And
letting my
oh, we tagged middle, and they gave up northeast.
Oh, boy.
That's it. Game over.
Captured.
I mean, I don't know why Sam let me go up there, to be honest. And so that decided the match. That was the
Bad mistake, yeah.
game-winning match, or game winner of the match right there. But look at this percentage, 84 to 34. I mean, it's like it was a stomp.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I just had them so confused with the flags. It's a weird map where actually you can get away with the Tro and with some melee support. Well, I sometimes didn't have melee support there either, but only when I knew I could take a flag very cleanly with the Tro.
See the chat, they're all congratulating me.
Right.
It'd be interesting to read their strat and see what their plan was from the start, because they didn't have one offensive push the whole game on our side of the map. It's flag rally.
On this one?
Flag captured.
Did they have an offensive push?
No, they didn't have offensive
Oh
push.
no, yeah, no,
Our
no.
side, but they had an offensive push south for like 30 seconds that they didn't even commit to. They actually just backed down, just took damage.
Well, my Tro putting all the pressure on their flags like so quickly in the game, it just had them on the back foot the entire time. Like they just could not do anything after that. So yeah, I was really happy with my Troing on this, and just like especially not taking that fight in the south. I feel like 90. I don't know. What do you guys think? I feel like 90% of players would have taken that fight killing PK in the south, but would have taken a bunch of damage in doing so, and it just wasn't as efficient. Like it was a kill that you could take, but I saw like a more efficient kill, and I took that instead, right?
I do think most players would have fought there, yeah.
I think taking that fight would have been bad, because not only the things you mentioned, but like how early in the game it was. So sure, we would have killed them, had percent lead, taken the flag, but then they would have had trial health advantage.
Exactly.
For another 10 minutes, because that was super early on in the game.
Yeah, I would have been trading Tro health for mauls, right? And it's just not a good
Eventually, their
trade.
trial are gonna wear us down, be able to push you around, because you could just shadow you and
Yeah.
peel off and kick stuff when it's there. So yeah, I think it would have, that early in the game, it just wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, that's why that was like a rare example, because you don't see examples like that very often, where it's like you have decision A and decision B, and both are good decisions. Like both are relatively good. But I mean, you said it was bad, Asmo. I think it would have still worked, assuming I didn't take too much Tro health damage. Like if I at least focused most of the damage on my Myrks, absorbed it mostly with my Myrks and Zerk or whatever, I think it would have been fine. But I saw an even more optimal decision, which was just to take their flag and then circle back around and worry about killing that force later, right? And it worked out great because, like, yeah, I caught PK kind of scrambling to try and defend that flag. He had to end up trying to like defend the flag south with a mort, you know, because he had all his melee off of it, and then his melee was like coming in one at a time, perfect for my Tro to kick because he just was rushing to get back on that flag. So just caught him in a bad spot there, and yeah, I was really happy with how the Troing played out on that. Myrk, looks like you had a big game too. So
Oh yeah, I mean it's
Eastman too.
kind of thanks to the fact that we're kind of scrambling because of your Trout. They made some mistakes, and I got a bunch of free kills. It looks like on their they just clumped Mercs around them if I fetch. I mean, you know, they're resistant, but if they clump, then not so much.
Yeah, I was also like kind of controlling units in like 2 spots. You saw me like with my melee pack near Myrk. I was defending him a little bit against Sam's Tro, and I was in 2 spots for most of this game, which was a little awkward, not super recommended. Luckily, it didn't bite me in the ass this game, but you know, it definitely can sometimes every now and then bite in the ass when you try and do that. So yeah, they just like were very uncoordinated and just like did not focus on the game type at all. Like even the way Sam backed away from my Tro at the end and just let me go get the flag, it was just kind of crazy to me actually. Like it's you always need to focus on the game type, and you can use the game type to win the BC fight. Is the big lesson I like from this game is use the game type to win the BC fight. So you can do that a lot with flag rally especially. So
I think their mid need to try to push through mid.
yeah, probably.
They
They couldn't stay there. They were just sitting there in the water in the low ground. They definitely couldn't just stay there, right? Yeah, they had to do something.
We had a bunch of fetch against just a couple mortars too, and they could have easily pushed us off.
They probably needed to put 1 Tro or 2 Tro, whatever they need to just get in the face of our morts and to help their fetch push through or something, right? But they never really set that up. Like that was the other thing is like you never saw them really set up any Tro fetch push, right? Like their Tro were on my Tro kind of for most of the game, and then Limp was kind of off by himself in the north, and then looping all the way around to the south. They never had any Tro with their fetch, which was a huge mistake. Sam started middle with their fetch, but then I forced him to peel off to worry about me, right? So, yeah, keeping their Tro away from their fetch was a huge factor. They needed to set up a Tro fetch push for sure.
Yeah, it ended up being like a strong offense is the best defense type of situation. Like you were just kind of in their backfield, wasting their time, and they were just not really pushing. Like they never even got flagged too, even though there's so little defense on it.
Yeah, this was the biggest stomp of the series for sure. That was a big one. I was really satisfied. That was a really satisfying win for me.
It was a really nice one.
All right, loading up the next one, last one here. Yeah, I really love seeing those really ambiguous decisions like that, where it's like decision A is like pretty good, but then there's this hidden decision B that could be a lot better, and like seeing players think it through like that is just like very high level, very smart plays. I love seeing that shit.
Got an AFK for 1 second, little boys room, be right back.
Sure.
We definitely ramped up as the series went on. I feel like
Yeah,
the
as a
last one
team,
game-
yeah. I always feel like my teams start cold for some reason. I don't know why, but I've had that multiple years where like the first 2 games we always start cold. I think I was saying that this year with us too. Like we always start cold, and that's why I wasn't so worried about the first 2 games too, as I knew we would warm up later.
This last trade we did, I mean, the series decided, but it's probably the trade I do right now.
Yeah, this is the classic: sink the thrall, run the timer out, rush at the end, and yeah, that's what I would do as well. Boring, yes, but that's why you don't pick last man on the hill for an MWC game. Especially not on one with a lot of thrall and deep water next to the flag. It looks like I'm talking some shit about August. Too bad Aug wasn't here. Am I right? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the result of this match and tourney was probably mostly expected. I think we were the favorites going into it. Even though we were a new team, I had won the previous 2 years. That probably de facto made us still the favorites going into this. And yeah, I felt like the favorites going into it. I never want to underestimate any opponent, but I really just wish they had let Limp captain. I would have felt a lot more. I felt it would have been a lot more competitive if they had allowed that to happen.
Yeah. I feel like if Limp's on your team, he's probably most effective as the captain.
Just wait for Myrk to get back before we kick it off. Looks like I got Myrk on a war pack, and Ars and Eastwind. Yeah, okay. I mean, I gave Myrk roleplay units like two games I saw. It's not too bad, I don't think.
I had the light map at the start. I can't even remember what the other one was.
I think it was the Havergamir one, maybe. He had just like a small archer thrall force, maybe.
Roleplay units almost don't even exist, though.
Yeah, every role is
maps, but
important. Yeah,
realistically,
exactly.
It's all, yeah. I don't like truly believe in like true role player sets anymore.
Yeah, I would agree with that. People definitely need to have the attitude about it, like, oh, you gave me this like quote unquote smaller squad, no big deal. Like you can still make super critical plays with any squad. So.
All right, I'm back.
All right, we're at 0 PT.
All right, me too. Good to go.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Game on.
So this game is kind of reminiscent of the last game of the MWC 11 finals as well, which was a similar strat for us, where Max Thrall just gonna be like looking to sink the Thrall on the flag because it's last man on the hill and run the timer out.
Archers versus no archers.
They're gonna recognize it at least this time. Like in 2011, NC didn't really recognize it. I mean, they saw what we were doing when we did it, but they didn't really realize that they needed to try to be more aggressive with their archers, so they just kind of sat back the whole game. In this one, you're going to see them like realize that they can't just sit back and try to force something at least. So
They are trying to sink one white south, which is interesting.
that's why that's actually kind of my counter argument to people who say that whenever I do these types of strategies, it's boring. But it shouldn't be, right? It should only be boring for my team. It shouldn't be boring for your team. It's still incumbent on the opposing team to try and force something throughout the game, right? And it's incumbent on my strategy to try and avoid. It's only a boring match if the other team doesn't realize that they need to force something. If they choose to wait till the end of the game too, then it's like, okay, well, you're playing into our hands. You're not really supposed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's yin and yang strats, right? They should be the ones being 100% aggressive from the get-go.
Exactly.
Like, okay, you can say it's
Flag
boring if they had
captured.
identical strats.
The only people should be complaining about it being boring is my team, not the other team. They basically get free reign to try and bully us around the map until the end of the game. So, do what you can with it. Okay, we're setting up a bottle puss in the north. Dac's gonna have a bottle puss. Almost got our Thrall in on the north side anyway.
They're approaching through mid. At least they are trying to do something with their archers.
Yeah. Should
So
we shoot
chain
our
man
Thrall? See if they do it.
Oh, so we end up doing a reverse sweep on this. It ends up being 5-2. Wow. Yeah, we only lose the first 2 games. That was it. On the next 5.
I was just kind of taking a bit of unnecessary damage, but you might just not have been watching his stuff.
Asmo's saying we already won.
But again, oh yeah, you can.
I wouldn't quite say that actually, because if they could stop our South Thrall, like Limp needs to be super aggressive with his archers and Dwarf there, and stop those South Thrall from sinking. If they can at least get control of one side of the lake and maybe run down No, those Thrall are still going to get in the water. Yeah, if they could have cut those Thrall off, prevented them from getting in the water, it would have been fine for them maybe.
I just noticed we have 2 journeymen.
Yeah, we went double J-Man for extra heals for the kind of slugfest rush.
Yeah, it's a good idea. With so many spare routes in the map, you can really get a lot more value out of them.
Yeah, you would want the heals for the warriors in Dwarf anyway, or even offensive. Sometimes I use them offensively, ending Thrall too.
Browning has the right idea right now.
Yeah.
He's 55 the water pack fights and hope that they can win the water pack fights without Thrall around.
Yeah, I feel like he should have waited, and well, he did get the Dwarf. He did pick off the Dwarf. I was gonna say I would have waited maybe a little bit to get us a bit more of a surround, but he does get the pick off on the Dwarf. That's good. Yeah, what they need to do now is just hunt down all of our non-Thrall units, especially the J-Men.
Yeah,
The J-Men they could run down at least. Browning definitely has the right idea. Yeah, he's getting in the face. He needs some archer support with him though.
His archers are
backing
Yeah.
out. And they're spreading out too much, too. Oh, look at this. Limp is kind of a little vulnerable here. Rat and Eastwind are going to set up a rush. Semi-pinch on Limp in the south.
Screwed right now.
Ooh, Sam's Dwarf's going to get picked. Ooh, nope. His Dwarf's still alive. They need to be guarding their Dwarfs like their life depends on it, too. Like, their Dwarfs are the only thing. Oh, okay. So am I trying to cut off their archers? No. I think I'm gonna sink again. Yeah. I tried to do a rush there, but I'm gonna sink again, I think. Okay. Limp's Dwarf still alive. He's looking good. Maybe. Dac's coming in from behind.
We outmaneuver them like crazy. Arzenic and Myrk have a great rush going on. And look where Kryptos does that north. He's just like completely. I don't even know how to get in that position, to be honest.
Yeah, Limp is screwed.
His water pack's not supporting.
Limp is definitely screwed.
Yes,
I was hoping to get some more Thrall in that. Okay, now I'm coming back out again to help the mid. Okay, yeah, now I'm calling for the rush mid. But you guys kind of already had the rush going. I was a little bit behind, I feel. Oh, nice pus. Yeah, I must Myrk out the nice pus there on Sam's Dwarf. I must have told everybody, you save all your pus for the Dwarfs, like, because that's the only thing we should be caring about with the pus.
That's what you do in this situation for sure.
I see Eastwind's got a pus still. Hopefully we still get some pus left because we got one more Dwarf. As soon as they lose that last Dwarf, it's done.
Contested.
Oh! Eastwind pusses like a ton of Browning's warriors and gets a clean kill on it. And then Asmo's flanking up a goal on that last Dwarf. Probably not going to get it though. No. So we're probably out of pus and they got one Dwarf left, but it's not going to matter.
Water now, at least, though.
Yeah, it's not going to matter. We have just too much of a advantage, I feel.
Yeah, way too many Thrall for them to deal with right now.
Looks like our warriors are a little... I thought we were winning that warrior fight a lot better than we did. It's actually still pretty close.
They got a pretty huge pus in all our warriors.
Did they? Oh, okay.
That's why they're still in it.
Flag contested.
Okay, we got the Dwarf down. Yeah, ours kind of chased it down there. That was smart. So ours is going to mop up.
Captured.
Myrk's going to retreat to our Thrall reinforcement.
Contested.
They're out of pus at this point. So Kryptos is going to be forced to fight Thrall at this point.
Arzenic's gonna have huge numbers this game. Just clean up all these free archers.
5 minutes remaining.
Oh, they had a white there. Oh, shit.
Not gonna get much though.
They had a white there the whole game.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, just why did like all our Thrall that were in the water?
Yeah. Well, it came out from another water. It wasn't in the one our Thrall were in, but I feel like they definitely could have used it earlier. Yeah, I like our execution on that. That was nice.
It's a pretty nice little engagement for us. And that's pretty well over.
This is where those J-Man heals really help. Just heal up all those Red Warriors.
Yeah, it's super useful. I wonder if Dac's bottle plus ended up doing anything, and does he have some
I
goals?
thought it did. I thought it did, actually. So yeah, this was like, I felt like this year, 2013, like, to me, it was like the third year in a row of me doing the same strats, telling everybody that they need to do the same thing, and everybody's still not listening. Like, you kind of saw it in the trades. Like, granted, there was one map, which was the, God, what was that? Whatever the second game was, I think. That second game, that light map, where actually I think heavier archers was more favorable. I think actually we mistraded that. We also partially misexecuted it, but other than that, though, I feel like you saw in like 2 or 3 other games where they just got too many arty, and we're kind of doing these melee heavy trades, and it's Eastwind's talking shit about we might lose this, bros. Careful. Yeah, I always tell everybody we could you can always lose. Like, there's no guaranteed wins in life, right? Like, I always have that healthy skepticism mindset. No matter, even though we were probably the favorite going into it, I always want to have the mindset of we're not the favorites. We're the underdogs no matter what. So we need to put in our best performance. So
It's a better mindset than just taking wins
yeah, you don't want to be
sure.
complacent for sure. But yeah, I felt like this was like the third year in a row of just like, hey, everybody, you need to do these more melee-centric strategies like I'm doing, and people are just not listening, and I'm getting these like essentially easy MWC wins, I feel, just with the some of these mistrades. Because you don't need to mistrade every
Team
single
eliminated.
game. If you mistrade even just 2 or 3 games, which is often what happens, that's enough to decide the whole match, you know? Like, I don't need to have a big advantage in trades on every single game. I only need like 2 or 3, and usually on average that's about what I get, and that ends up being like a huge advantage. So I wasn't super happy with this win. I didn't feel like, I definitely, like, 2011, 2012 was like, I felt like I played harder, tougher opponents compared to this year, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is, and it was TMNT's first year, first formation, and it kind of proved my hypothesis correct about, like, hey, we can take players that like Asmo, Rat, and Dac. You know, maybe not so true with Eastwind, Myrk, and ours. Like, you guys still had full-fledged reputations as top players, but the second half of our team anyway, not super well known, at least not at this point in time. Asmo and Rat both, I think, end up becoming more prominent players later, but this was, I guess both of y'all's, and Dax too, like the 3 of you, it was your guys' first MWC on a top finals contending team, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it was.
And it worked out just fine. So, yeah, and I for the life of me cannot remember why we disbanded the team after this year. I would have thought I would have wanted to take this team and make it a dynasty. I really don't remember what. Yeah, I don't know if it's like you wanted to go off and do your own thing or what, Asmo. I don't remember, but
I can't remember what led to the different looking team in 2014.
so technically it wasn't a dynasty yet. Not this year, not the next year either, but ended up becoming a dynasty later on, 2015, 2017, 2018. So, yeah. This was the start of it all, the start of the TMNT dynasty. It was nice.
Yeah, I don't remember if I even played in 2014.
Yeah, I don't remember you playing
you were
then
on my
either.
team, I think.
Oh, yeah, no, you did, Myrk. Yeah, you did.
What team was that?
Game.
Yeah, you were on Asmo's team. Asmo actually kind of had the more TMNT-like team that year.
Ours, Eastwind, Myrk.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Eastwind, Ars, Donsky, Myrk, Kryptos. Yeah, actually, you were in the next year there, Myrk.
Right. My memory for like post 2010 MWCs is pretty
Yeah,
hazy, except for like this one really.
yeah. Any other final comments about this year?
Well, I guess this is the year that the Myrk curse got broken, so that was nice for me.
About the series, no. I don't know if we're ever going to touch on it, but probably good for people to know who aren't aware. There was a massive upset this year that we didn't cover in this
Oh
episode.
gosh,
Where
I totally
one of
forgot about
one of the
that. Jesus.
other favorites to make the final is TMNS, which had a core like Adrenaline, Shyster, Teary. Who else was on that team? Ratking, stuff like that, and they actually got upset by Wu-Tang Clan, which
Damn.
was like a RAR team, RAR, Thor, Shadow, stuff like that. And so they got fourth place, so they didn't even play in the bottom bracket finals. So yeah.
Dude, how wild is that? That they got eliminated so fast that I don't even remember them. And that was
That's pretty
like
crazy.
that
Those are
that
stacked,
roster, if you go look at that roster, dude, it is like one of the most stacked rosters of all time. It was fucking crazy. It was like the best of NP and NC combined. Like it was like an NC NP merger, like just like how the NP T-Cox merger happened. That was like an NP NC merger, and they freaking get one of the biggest upsets of all time, if not the biggest, like top three for sure, arguably top one upsets. And that was the other reason I remember being kind of feeling a little not satisfied about this win against Agents, because like I felt like Agents actually wasn't supposed to be the team that we were supposed to play in the finals. It was supposed to be TMNS. And I will also say that we did have one good match against TMNS in the DE rounds. I think DE2, if I'm not mistaken. And we did end up winning. So nobody can say like they were going to beat us if they only didn't get upset. We did still beat them, but it was a very close match, 3-2, and yeah, that would have been a really epic. And actually, I'm not sure if we would. It would have been a really tough fight. I'm not sure if we would have beat them in the finals. It would have been super tough. Their roster was so stacked. It was crazy, dude. It was freaking crazy. Like Shyster, Genghis, Adrenaline, Rabikin, Teary, all on the same team. It's like, along with some others. It's like crazy.
Yeah, that is really stacked. I wonder if it was like an activity thing, or maybe their capping was bad that year or something.
I
That's kind
can't
of odd.
remember if Chicken Wire was there too. I can't remember. If Chicken Wire was there though too, like holy shit, dude,
Yeah.
They got forward.
Yeah, they end up getting upset massively because I watched it. I talked about it at the time. Basically, they don't have a captain. That's what it comes down to. Like they end up having Zach as their captain, and he didn't know how to captain. So their whole team kind of played like shit. And Thor, to his credit, with his unconventional strategies sometimes, but you know what? He does come up with like decisive strategies, and hell, they do work sometimes. There's something to what he does every now and then he really pulls off some surprising shit with his capping. So he sure did it that year.
Those games, playing random games with Thor as captain and the Thor Rush, those were good days.
Yeah, I think maybe that's something to be said why his strategies can be kind of exceptionally effective, like kind of punch above his weight as far as what his team should be capable of doing. Is like he does like to do rushes, and yeah, rushes are pretty effective on large team studies if you're very decisive with them and very focused on them, and so he's used them to some effect. And yeah, TMNS, like they even named their team to troll our team. Like you can tell their team was kind of put together to take out our team. Like like Genghis left. Well, I mean, we just parted ways for whatever reason. So he finally joins up with them after teaming with me for a couple years, or yeah, at least 2 years in a row. And yeah, I really feel like their team was put together to take out me and my team because this would have been my third year. If I'd won this year, which I did, but that would have been my third year in a row. So I think they were really trying to take us out, and they kind of failed. They kind of like tripped and fell flat on their face with that one. It was unfortunate. I would have really liked to play that against that team though. They just needed to have their captain there. They had kind of like a weak showing against WTC there. I don't know if it was WTC or whatever their name was, but they just had kind of a weak showing. They kind of took WTC for granted. They thought they would have been an easy win for them, and it didn't turn out that way. Now, granted, oh, because we sent them to the bottom bracket. That's why. Okay, that's right. So we end up beating them in DE2, sends them to the bottom bracket, and then WTC ends up eliminating them. And then they didn't even get to the bottom bracket finals. Is that right, Asmo?
No, I mean they lost to WTC before the bottom bracket final. So WTC played the team we played in the finals, and they got rolled like 0-5 or something like that.
Yeah,
Like that would have
yeah.
been a much more interesting series to see TMNT and Agents duke it out to play us. See how that would have looked.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is so wild. Yeah, wow. That is such a huge upset. I literally totally forgot about that team completely. Like they got eliminated so early. I didn't even remember them. Um, Super unfortunate. Really would have liked to play that team. Oh well. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Holy shit! I would have been like a travesty if I didn't bring that up, and I would not have remembered. Um, yeah. I mean, it was a fun one. 2013. Oh, Myrk, I was gonna say something. To your point, what other you ended up winning some other MWCs after this, did you not? What years were those?
I really have no idea. Like I just generally don't remember what I
You,
played
you were kind of
after.
inactive after
Like
this,
I'm
yeah,
I was kind of hit or miss for joining MWCs. Like I think I don't even remember the last one I played in.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think you
It's been
played
at
in
least a
Mithril
few
Cup
years.
after 2014.
Oh well.
Oh, really? He hasn't played
No,
the whole
I'm
time?
well. Okay, well he played. Yeah, 15, no, 16, no, 17. Now you played one other, but I wouldn't even count that as you playing. It was like on 2022, and you showed up for like one match. Like that's not even really playing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you've been kind of like show and play only if somebody invites you at this point, right, Mark? Pretty much.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think if I don't have really too much going on as far as video games, I'll probably try to make more MWCs and shit. But yeah, it's been sporadic over the years. I guess I've just kind of been busy with other stuff.
I will say this though, Merc, and Asmo and I were talking about this earlier. Of all the players, like Asmo, back me up on this one. Of all the players we've been watching from like the old films, I feel like you're the one that stands out. Like actually, you hold up well in your older performances. Like everybody else we look at, like I feel like it's always disappointing. You know, like the memory of it is better than the reality when you actually open up the films and look at the old stuff. But like you're the one player I feel that like holds up the test of time over time pretty
Or
well.
like
So
the 2001 finals.
yeah, not just the 2001 finals, but like just generally, you know, and even I don't know, I can't remember what years it was, but I remember watching some other film with you in it, and I was just like Merck's got the right idea, and I feel like you were misunderstood sometimes. Like people were like clashing with you, and I feel like actually you have a pretty good eye for the game. I think actually. So
Yeah, like I guess my thing is just some years I'd be super inactive and wouldn't really do all that well, and then some years I'd, at least warm up. Like this last draft tournament, I just played some warm up games and just shook off the rust, kind of ate shit in those games, but then for the actual match it was good to go. So that's kind of just what I need to do, I think, when I'm actually playing. But yeah, it's been kind of like inconsistent over the years just because of the entire activity thing. But yeah, you don't really forget like the game. And I feel like you and me are sort of in the same boat, just kind of wanting to have more melee focused strategies. Like
yeah, for
back like
sure.
even 2001, it was all about that shit. It's like I said, I came from like TFL, and I was like trying to figure out how to beat archers and dwarves and shit with melee back early on. So kind of went from there.
I'm gonna make a bold claim right here.
Oh, actually, before I continue, actually, the thing is, like, I think you were saying, like, the best thing to give me was melee, and, like, one thing is, like, when I'm coming back to the game, the one thing I don't really ever practice much is, like, the ranges of, like, artillery, like, warlocks and mortars specifically, like, so I tend to not really remember the ranges as much, so those tend to be a bit more tough, although I felt like I did all right in this past tournament. Yeah, go ahead, Asmo.
Yeah, this last tournament, the ones we watched now are the draft tournament.
No, the draft tournament.
Oh yeah, you played super good in the draft tournament. I was actually surprised. I mean, I figured you played good, but I thought there'd be like a de-rusting period where you played bad before you got good. But you're consistent from the get-go. You actually
I
really
mean,
how
I
well you
definitely
played.
made. Yeah, I saw the cast of that. I definitely made a couple of like silly mistakes, but I think you guys kind of missed them, and weren't like game deciding.
Yeah.
We'd have some good plays too.
All right. So my bold claim is, I mean, Merc has got an unfair rep for long times in terms of sort of play. Like I know people used to say you're like a tunnel vision player, this and that, but in hindsight, even me, I've probably said some of that about you. Is I feel like myself as a player, grown a ton in my way to see the game, and so I was doing things very wrong in the past, in my opinion. And so yeah, I don't know. Like I'd say Merc is actually probably a top 10 player all time. When you look at all myth
Ooh,
history.
that's bold. It's a bold claim.
Yeah,
High praise there, Merc. High praise.
I'd say is probably top 10 all time because I feel like these quote unquote failures they put on Merc, I actually feel like it was just like bad strategy, like set him up for bad stuff, and then like I don't know,
Yeah.
and then Merc had a strong personality, talked a lot of trash, and so every little minor failure he had, they blow over proportion and just keep on running with it. But yeah,
Like any time I had a bad game, the recording would be up and people would talk shit. But
Yeah, like for whatever reason, people were on your ass all the time for
oh,
everything. Like
I know why.
yeah,
I used
well,
to talk a lot of shit. I kind of had it
yeah, well,
too.
fair, yes. I mean, I got some of that too, but it feels like you had it even worse than me to some extent, or at least in a different way. Like that desert game, that ended up like deciding whatever. I forget what
I
year that was.
Man, I saw the cast. I forget what year it was, but that one where I like was I think I had a dwarf and a flag and a thrall was chasing me off or something and I didn't contest. I forget. I honestly it's been so long, I don't remember. Maybe I just didn't notice that I needed to contest, but like it definitely what like it's funny. I got blamed like that was just me losing the entire tournament with that one
Yeah,
play.
right.
I saw the rest of the cast and like, we could have just rushed them, but people just kind of pussied out and didn't do it and like we would have just won the game had they done that. So I mean, the end of the day, did I make a boneheaded play up north there? I think it was north, whatever, with my dwarf. Sure, yeah, admit that, but it wasn't the only reason we lost the game by any means.
Yeah. Like I feel like people just it's like it's just like a whole thing. Like you give them an inch, they take a mile. They're ample. Like yeah, okay, maybe it was a mistake, but like that shouldn't define your whole like career playing wise for like the last 20 years. This one fucking game. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, Asmo. Wow, that's some high praise from Asmo. I mean, I definitely don't like. I can't disagree with it entirely. Like, yeah, you're in the conversation for sure, Merc. Like, I remember Merc. I remember this is what I remember from you, dude. Like, I remember you were super dominant early on, but like I felt like there's a lot of people that were really dominant early on, and then they kind of faded. They trailed off. Their dominance just didn't couldn't sustain, and I think a lot of that had to do with internet connections catching up. Some other players that weren't previously competitive before with their internet were starting to get better internet and starting to compete better. The game evolving, but I remember your 2001 trades. Like even then, man, like you had some good trades. Like your squad distributions and role choices was like the only part I would disagree with. Your trades were good, and so even in 2001, like I feel like you had a pretty good eye for the game, and I do remember feeling at one point that like you had you were like like faded and no longer like you like relinquished your four ball status, and this would have been around. And I'm not saying I was right. I just remember thinking that at the time because you just weren't as crazy dominant as you weren't once were. And I want to say this would have been around, I don't know, the Playmouth era of some sort around then, I guess. Um, but then here you are, and all these many years later, you're still solid the whole time. So I think I was wrong then. And you can walk away from the game and come back and still be solid. Let's just like Asmo was saying in the draft tourney. So like, yeah, I mean, you stand the test of time. I would just say, dude, like, and full props because I feel like there's very few players that are like that stand the test of time. Like, there's just been so many cases where people have trailed off, but like you said, you're able to walk away from the game and come back to it, and it's like riding a bicycle. You never fully forget how, and you can still be super solid with it. And I feel like the truly great players should be able to do that. I don't see in any universe that I can walk away from this game, even for like a super long period of time, and come back and be like complete shit at it. I just don't see how that happens to some people. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've had my years where I just kind of was just inactive and just whatever, just wasn't playing that well, I think. But some other years I was. It's just about like how much I was kind of playing and putting thought into it. Because like if I'm just casually joining for a tournament, I'll just play like literally just the tournament games and just not really be thinking about it too much. Then it's not gonna be as good. But like so when I actually put any kind of thought into it and just practice, because that's kind of what you have to do in Myth when you've been playing other shit and not been playing Myth for a while. Then you can kind of get back into it. But a lot of it is like riding a bike. Like, I almost feel like I could do like fetch duty in my sleep, just coming right back to it, actually. It's like the one unit I just feel like I can never go wrong with.
I can't
But,
remember what year it was, but there was some film that we covered recently where like you you got into it with one of your teammates or even your captain. I'm not sure.
Probably Raziel. I remember there was like one year where like I think you kind of experienced this too. Like Raziel was like the main captain and strategizer, and
Hmm.
then like it was more like react to what the opponent
Yeah.
does,
Oh, that drove me
and then
nuts. Yeah.
you're like always on the back foot. And
Yeah,
then
I
I
hated
guess
that.
one year I was just kind of like sick of it, and was like, okay, dude, let's change shit up. This isn't working. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me at the time, and maybe I did it in a dickish way, but I used to be more of a dick. But that was like probably my one major public conflict with a team. But like generally, like when I'm on a team, I like want to win, and you don't really win by getting into it with your teammates too much. I mean, if your teammates are like wrong about something, I would correct them, but and probably vice versa. But generally, you just want to keep it chill with the teammates.
No, I
And
don't
like,
think it was like
I
any
think I
crazy
did
like I don't.
have like it was basically because I think I talked a lot of shit. There was a fair amount of people I didn't get along with all that well. Then they would think I was kind of a shit teammate who would just trash your teammates or whatever. But I didn't really tend to do that for the vast, vast, vast majority of it.
I don't think it was like you causing any like major internal team drama or anything. It was just like kind of like at the end of a losing game, and you guys were clearly a bit flustered about losing, and there was a disagreement about like what the mistake that was made, and you were having a back and forth with somebody over it, and I just remember watching it. And I was like, I take Myrk's side on this one. Myrk is right. They should listen to Myrk, but it's like because it's like if you're not the popular one, people will always like pile on you. They side with the popular crowd, and that's what it felt like a little bit. Like you were not in the in crowd on that or whatever on that team, and like people were like disagreeing with you. But it's just like no, actually, like majority doesn't rule in this case. Like Myth is a very objective game, and it's like there are right answers and wrong answers here, and it doesn't matter if the majority popular opinion is wrong. It doesn't make it right. It's still wrong. So
Yeah, I mean, you can there's a lot of like popularity contest things with Myth, and you have your in crowd and your out crowd with different groups of people, and then some people they're just gonna disagree with you offhand because they don't like you, or at least that was kind of how it was back in the day. Uh, but yeah, I mean, there's the right way and the wrong way, and I don't know. As far as like strategy and shit, I feel like I usually get it right. There's probably like it's been so long. I played so many games. I've probably been wrong about shit too. But I probably like. I'm gonna say I've probably publicly been wrong before. But if I was to like look at whatever it was and just analyze it, I'd probably come around to whatever the right side is because I'm all about like trying to figure out the correct things to do in situations. Like that's kind of like how I initially got good at myth is like, back in like fucking 98 or whatever when I was playing TFL, I only had like 56k modem, which was for 1998 that was actually kind of good, but limited time to play, so I'd be like playing free for alls and like when I wasn't playing because I had limited time on the internet, I would just be watching replays and kind of analyzing like, what were the good players doing? What was I doing that wasn't working? What was working, all that shit, and you kind of just keep on doing that as your plan.
Yeah, I think to support Asmo's argument here, I'm still pondering about it, and I'm coming around to it. I never thought about it before, but I think to your point, Asmo, like it's not just Merc kind of being consistently good over so long. I also think like the fact that he was dominant in 1v1 and FFAs, at least early on in Myth, which still counts for a lot. Like so not only was he dominant early on and is still solid today, but also that the being good in both individual and large team setting, that's the super rare thing. Both of those things very rare, I would say. Like Nate, I have a struggle naming other players that can say the same thing, right? So
Yeah, I mean, there's not too many people who did a lot of like who had a lot of success in like free for all tournaments and were also really good team players. Like I remember I was like in a finals where free for all with like Chicken Wire, so I guess he was pretty good at FFA too, and he was obviously a good team player. Uh,
yeah, Chicken Wire definitely in the conversation for sure. Yeah,
there
absolutely.
were there were some people I would see in like finals of FFA. Like I would like one. I forget it was like two or three FFA tournaments back in like 2001 or whatever. But I was in a bunch of other finals too, and there were some people I would see in the finals for FFA tournaments, but I would never see them in team games like at all. So it was kind of, I don't know, kind of like a missed opportunity for them maybe because they were actually pretty solid players, but I guess they just only liked free for all. I don't know. I don't know if you guys remember a player called Bathtub Gin. That's kind of like the type of player I'm thinking of. He was like, I would see him in the finals like all the time in free for all tournaments, but I never saw him in like team games at all. Like
Mm-hmm.
probably if you like only follow team games, you probably have no idea who I'm talking about. But there were some players like that.
It's just like having a big range as a player. Like there's something about having a range of myth skill, not just between like 1v1 and large two team, but um, also range in terms of longevity. Because it is kind of, although myth is a game where you don't exactly forget how to play it, I still think there's something to be said of statistically, not everybody who's at the top stays at the top for forever. I mean, you kind of experienced that even a little bit yourself, Merc. Like you were like on top of the myth world for a couple years early on, like considered tippity top player, five baller, and then you know a little bit later on, like I was saying, like at one point I even thought you lost your four ball status for a little while there, but like that was probably a bit of over exaggeration on my part, but you
Oh,
were
I
kind of
mean,
underrated then for a little while too, right? And maybe even just to some extent now you're like being underrated because you're not active anymore, but you still seem to come back and are solid again. So
yeah, I mean, I've had some bad years for sure. It's just like I said, it's just the activity. Like you can't just come back after a couple years, hop into a game and magically do well. Like you're just gonna forget controls and stuff like that. But yeah, when I actually do put any effort into the game, I usually tend to compete rather well. And I mean, I used to be like a five baller back in 2001 for sure, but it don't like it takes effort to get to that level, and I just don't put in the effort these days. But I can easily get to four baller with some practice. But if I don't get any practice, I'm probably like a two or three. Like if you just drop me back into a
nah,
game, well, after like a
that's
couple
too
years,
humble.
right? No, like after like, dude, I'll tell you, this draft tournament when I was playing warm up games, we were playing little 2-team proving ground games, and I was like, I healed healed a white because I forgot that there was pus on the map after, proving grounds, a game I played like thousands of times. So like there's shit you forget after a while, and you have to kind of relearn. But it depends
Yeah,
on how
but
long a break you've taken too.
that doesn't really count though. Like everybody comes back after long hiatuses, and yeah, you might be rusty for a couple weeks or whatever. But that's you don't rate yourself on the first 2 weeks of rust after away from like as long as you can come back quickly to like after a month or so of play, like that's really what you get rated. I would
I,
rate a
I
player
feel
on.
like I feel like Merc is a four baller right now.
Yeah,
Right, because
exactly. I'd say
if
too.
you go
Yeah.
if you go and put him under a captain who doesn't know what he's doing, then yeah, he's gonna struggle being rusty and not like having all the quick thoughts since he's been inactive, of what to do by yourself in a broken situation. But if you're on a good team, he's gonna play to a four ball level. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. And I
That
mean,
sounds
that's
about
true of anybody. Like, a bad captain is going to screw up any player and have them underperform. It's like literally almost the definition of what bad capping is. Like, you judge captains based
yeah.
on the relative performance of their players and teams, what they would otherwise be capable of, without that captain, right? So,
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, you want to see well, I mean, we covered that desert game with Ducky. That's the biggest example, but yeah, you can definitely have strategies that are kind of not great, unit distributions that aren't great. That can handicap you for sure.
yeah, we'll all this chat. Well, I feel like we should get a team together one of these years again. Probably not this next year, but maybe the year after. Yeah, would like to change up the teams a little bit at some point. Um,
Yeah, I was kind of thinking I'd probably more down for draft tournaments and maybe even MWCs going forward. It kind of depends on how busy I am, but I think Myth is in my blood, so
that's
it
good
is
to
what it is.
hear.
We got to run back the original TMT at some point. Not exactly, but pretty close to. I mean, the people that are
Yeah,
involved in these casts are us three and Dac,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that'd be
Arzenic.
fun.
fun.
Arzenic's been involved, so that's like the original TMT right there. Only ones
Yeah,
missing is
It was
these
a it was
twins.
a fun group, absolutely. I mean, it kind of ended like it ended in 2018. Like, yeah, it feels like the group should get back together at some point.
yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, I'm playing with like Dak in Destiny 2 all the time anyway, so we've got that teamwork where he dies and I resurrect him, but you stay dead in Myth, so we'll see how that works out.
We just need to find, we were talking a little bit about the team stacking last episode and a little bit, I don't know if we had mentioned it briefly this time because 2017 definitely was some stacking going on, but like I never stack to like overpower an opposing team. I just stack to like try to, it's not about getting an easy win. It's just fun to play with a super solid fucking team, right? Where you don't have to worry about anything. Like I don't know. There's something about it. It feels nice. It's kind of like I don't know if you can imagine like you're like uh, you're like a Greek soldier with your sword and shield. You want to have a bunch of trained killers right next to you in formation. You just feel safer, right? So it just feels good.
Yeah, for sure. I like what you've been doing too over the years, GKG, trying to like, you were kind of really dominant for a while, and then you were like, I need to kind of, weaken my teams or train other players, build people up to have competition. Because I mean, anybody can like team with like the best people in the game and just stomp everybody all the time, but it's better to challenge yourself. It is a game after all, you know what I mean?
100%. I don't take great like pleasure in most of these wins. There's probably like of all the wins, there's probably like only a few that like I felt any degree of like accomplishment in, you know what I mean? Otherwise, the way I sum up all my wins is pretty much as simple as the community needs to learn how to do the strategies properly. That's basically it. And Asmo, to his credit, is finally, he's well, Asmo's been learning it for a long time. And in 2018, Asmo already you were showing signs of doing it even then. But even my knowledge has advanced since then, and like the strategic advantage that I've enjoyed which is basically the only reason I've been able to win so many, is basically gone at this point, at least if I'm going up against LSO or Asmo. So the competition in capping is definitely there. We just really wish there was just more viable teams and captains that could compete against us so that we could we've been not stacking so much in recent years, but it would be nice to stack again sometimes. I just wish we could like have this highest level of competitive play. It's just more exciting. It's just more exciting to play and be part of. I don't, in other words, I don't stack just to get an easy win over the other team. I want the other team to stack too. You know what I mean? Like I want to have a stacked opponent to play against too.
Yeah, it is really nice when you have those high level games. It's too bad the community is so small now. I mean, it's of course Smith is so old, but those games are few and far between, but they're good when they happen.
Yeah, I mean, I would enjoy like losing against some really great teams too. Like I just enjoy the level of competition regardless. Like it's to me it's about the level of competition, not winning or losing. I don't really I mean, it might be hard for people to believe, but I actually don't give that much of a shit about win or lose. I just want to have high level competition, you know.
Yeah, like my favorite two-team series was definitely the MWC 01 finals, and we ended up losing it still, right? But it was still like highly competitive, super close games against, basically best teams in the world at the time facing off. It was pretty wild. But yeah, that was my favorite for sure. I mean, even sometimes when you lose, as long as you put a good effort and your opponents are like, they're playing at their best and shit, then yeah, that can be really, really fun too. Like you don't necessarily need to win all the time, as long as the games are good.
Dac, I just noticed Dac said in the chat that year GKG. I remember saying he expected to lose the first two, i.e., he's saying I expected to lose the first two games from this match. Yeah, I think I remember saying that too. Yeah. That's why I wasn't. And it's funny, I kind of called it perfectly. We lost the first two, and then we fucking reverse win the next five. That's great.
Yeah, pretty good result.
Well, I think we finally covered it all since Asmo brought up the TMNS thing that I had forgotten. Any other final comments before we close it out?
Not really. I guess I'll say that Asmo's improved as a player a lot since I first knew him. That's for sure. Definitely did a good job capping the draft tournament and all that.
Oh, well, he's improved massively, even more so as a captain, for sure. Like Asmo, I mean, do you think you've improved as a player? Well, you've improved as a player too, because like being a better captain makes you a better player, right? But like most of your gains as a player was all through improved capping, probably. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I just feel like I understand the game better now. Like clicking, it's probably not my peak, but in some sense, it actually is my peak because I make less bad decisions.
Right. Yeah. I always tell everybody, like, everybody should learn to be a good myth captain. It will make you a much better player. Like, especially in a large team setting. Like, if you know how to read the game, like, all over the map at a very high level, large scale. Because that's, it's always like when you introduce the large scale of it that confuses everybody. That's what makes the large team setting so different than the 1v1 setting or small two team setting. But I know for me, getting better as a captain has made me a much better player. Like you said, like my clicking is definitely not peak, right? But my decision making is peak for sure. And so I'm arguably, I don't I don't know if I'm better overall as a player necessarily, but um, my impact on the game I think is still greater though, because my impact comes from shot calling or other decisions I'm able to make besides just BC fighting with the units that I have, right? So yeah, I really wish. Well, again, as we've discussed before, we are going to put together a video, and I probably should get on top of this soon. I'm going to put together a presentation of slides of all of everything I know, basically, like 25 years of myth strategy distilled into like hopefully about an hour strategic discussion of how to break down the strategy of this game, because I think it's a very unique game for many reasons, but especially the strategy of it. And there's a lot of metaphors and analogies that tie into strategies of real life, just like real life lessons you can draw from that that apply everywhere in life. So it's not just about this game either. I think it's got a broader impact. Anybody who's been playing this game for as long as we have, I think should be able to appreciate it. So that will be coming hopefully before the next MWC. So maybe in the next few months. I just need to put together some slides. I have a paper already written. I got some diagrams to explain things. I just need to kind of put it into a more friendly format to do with proper slides and to kind of just do some voiceover discussion through it. So that will be coming, and I am really hoping, I wrote many papers on myth strategy before. They never really had as much impact as I had hoped for, or people would just not read them. So I'm hoping the video format really will be worth people taking the time to just at least listen to. They don't have to read anything, and some visual aids to really dumb it down for everybody. Explain it like a fifth grader, right? Like, and it's not difficult concepts to understand. Everybody's going to be like, duh, that's obvious, but the reality of it is that most people don't apply the things in the game, despite how obvious and simple they may be, right? So it takes practice applying these things. Like, it's easy to see what the right decision is after you watch a film. In hindsight, that's not, although some people get that wrong too, analyzing the film incorrectly after the fact. I mean, that's bad. But most people can get it right after the fact. That the real key skill to generate, it's just like any skill in life, right? The true masters of anything, it's not that that other people can't do what they do, but the true masters can do it in the split second. Like, they can just do it way faster in real time, right? Like, they can make those decisions in real time, and that's the skill to generate. And then once you do that, now you can be a shot caller, and now you can think on your feet in real time in any situation in a game. And I seriously think anybody's capable of increasing their player skill in the game by like at least a full ball rating if they could just learn to really get good at the strategy side of the game. So I'm hoping the video can help do that for some people at least. Anybody that wants to get better at this game really can just talk to me. I will lay it out. I will give you materials and give you feedback. Like, I know how to make players better in this game. I've done it many times before, and I want people to get better at this game. I really wish everybody was better than me, honestly. I wish I was the worst player in this game. That'd be amazing. I wish I could be delegated to just like podcast duty forever, like just permanent spectator, because I'm just benched on everything. That would be the dream for me, because I just want to see high level myth play. That's all I care about. So
Yeah, that should be interesting for sure. That myth course. Looking forward to seeing that when that comes out.
yes, hopefully I don't procrastinate it too long, but and hopefully some people will join me whenever I get around to doing that, just so I don't have to hear only myself talk, and some other people can kind of bounce some questions or whatever off me. But we'll leave it there for now. Thanks everybody for joining, and until next time, take it easy.
Have a good one. See you.
All right, good night, guys.